Hello and welcome to the last week of House Rivalries. Hey, I'm your host Delta. I'm with me. I got some lovely casters and some lovely gays incoming. Say hello, guys.
Hello.
Howdy. Bonjour.
So, what do we have in store for us today? You people are the experts on this.
Well, today we have the finals of the bracket. So we have two matches to determine the two teams that are going to join the two already semi-finalists, and then we're just going to have regular semi-finals and finals.
Yeah. So up first, we got Oslo Lions versus Epic Esports, who are competing to play against Intrepid Fox in the semi-final, and got some decks, some bands to talk about. So Oslo Lions have gone for a lineup of Control Priest, Even Warlock, Mid Hunter, and the kind of aggressive Pirate Rogue we've seen a bit more recently. While Epic went for an Even Warlock and a mid-range Hunter of their own. Their priest is a clone priest, and they also had an odd quest warrior. So we have already had the bans in from them. I think Oslo Lions had probably the easiest ban decision we've had in the entire tournament so far, with the odd quest warrior, which just ruined every single one of their decks. And the pirate rogue was banned for Oslo Lions. So, Den, do you have any thoughts on who's looking good going into this matchup?
Well, since they both ban the different class from the opposing lineups, I think it's really going to revolve around that Warlock because, like, in this metagame, I feel like Warlock struggles a lot against Hunter and Priest, and that's exactly what he's going to have to go against. So for me, it either comes down to even luck mirror or to whoever can find a win with that deck.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty valid point. So, given the way that the two teams have constructed their even locks, Oslo Lions have gone for two cheaty ankle biters, two doomsayers, two spellbreakers, and they don't run a copy of Bone Mare, while Epic have a single doomsayer, a single plated beetle, a single spellbreaker, but they also run Zihi, Nerubian Unraveler, which is also in Oslo's deck, actually, as well as Bone Mare. Do you think the heavier deck or the kind of more defensive deck of Oslo will fare better?
Well, I think in the mirror, I would definitely give the edge to the heavier deck because usually two drops don't have that much of an impact. But then Oslo is gonna have a better chance against Hunter because they have a better list against aggro, and Epic is gonna have a better chance against Priest because they have a list that's better against Control. So they both have edged against a different class, but the mirror for me goes to Epic.
Yeah, so it's bordering just completely on 50-50 this matchup. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. And we are just about ready to get into the game. So we're going to hand it over to our caster's desk of Livion and Wita.
Hello, and welcome to the Casting Desk Guy. My name is Wheat, and I'm joined by Olivia and my more or less, would you say, normal casting pass these days? We tend to
normal casting person. Thank you very much. I'm very normal.
Yeah, very normal. My regular. That's why I'm looking for a regular casting partner. And obviously, we said before the match is going to be Epic Esports versus Oslo Lions. And I don't know. Do you favor any of these teams without looking at lineups just at first hand?
I was very impressed when we casted Oslo Lions 2 weeks ago, I think. Of course, I haven't seen Epic. I know that they played very well last game. I think Lights was soloing the team cup. But if I would only look at the teams, I would say I kind of favor Oslo Lions.
I just think I have a little bit of personal share in the fact that I'm very good friends with Alex Na, who's on Us Alliance, and reason why I'm always also in favor of them. I did get to cast Dan in Blue, who is the pilot for Epic Esports, last weekend during DreamHack Leipzig, and I was actually fairly impressed with the way he played. And obviously, Dan in Blue, a pretty big name in terms of in the German halftime scene, kind of had a bigger name in the general Hearthstone populace as well. But generally speaking, just known within Germany as a player, a strong player as well. We have some pretty interesting decks, right? Still against the analysts were talking about. I'm looking at that even Warlock build from Us Alliance and kind of thinking, what's the play here? Is it good? Is it bad? I feel like against the decks that we're seeing brought from Epic, unless it doesn't hit the Hunter, I'm kind of feeling like this build is a risk that will not really pay off.
I agree. As we said before we started casting, it's kind of an anti-aggressive deck with the cheeky ankle biters and the doomsayers, and of course doomsayer is quite standard. But if we look, if we set it out against Epic's warlock deck, then I would say Epic's warlock is a bit greedier and thus a bit better in the mirror. And as Dan said in the analysis beforehand, the warlock that wins their game probably wins the series first. So let's see how that turns out, and I'm really not sure what we can expect.
I don't really know either, but we are going to game very shortly as the players are getting ready to go. And see here, it's going to be a priest mirror first up. As I'm trying to get the hands of both teams, as we're still up. But there's not a priest mirror because this is a cloning gallery priest versus cloning gallery versus the cloning gallery priest versus the Magnus priest. I don't know why I was struggling so much with that, but so we can see right
Control
now.
priest is what it's also called, but yeah, it is not a mirror, but they are both priests for sure. Which also means that this matchup might not really be our forte, but will definitely make it fun to listen to. Let's look at the starting hands that we have here. Alexa, of course, Oslo Lions with the Northshire Cleric in the starting hands already. Always happy to see that card because you are very easier. It's becoming easier for you to draw cards. Shadow Visions as well. Getting those important cards. And what are the important cards in this matchup? You would say.
So for the priest, generally speaking, Twilight Drake is the really good one because it's just a very nice card in terms of getting the pressure down. Obviously, the good old 4 attack priest mean they can't deal with these minions kind of deal. But in generally speaking, I feel like Northshire Cleric, especially against the version of Mindless Priest, Clothing Gallery Priest that us, not Epic Esports are running, it's a lot better because you have the cleric that can answer potential Guildwood Gargoyles and will be able to draw cards. Well, against the list with fewer minions in terms of Gallery Priest, you generally speaking don't really like to see Northshire Cleric because as a card, it's just not going to draw you any cards, generally speaking, and that's what you want to do. And Twilight Drakes, again, so what I'm a little bit interested to see is here how aggressively Oslo Lions are going to play around Mass Hysteria because that's one of the main cards that really helps the Mind Blast, the Gallery Priest get back on the board in this matchup. See here, they do have the option to play this. If they have the option to play this Rain Elemental down, but actually do not want to give any card draw over to the Oslo Lions side. And this Acolyte of Pain Livian, it's a pretty interesting inclusion. Why is it here and what does it do?
Well, I know what it's going to do here because, as you just said, the Mass Hysteria is a good counter versus the Dragons if the also Lions decide to go wide on board. But the Acolyte, of course, would draw them another card then. So in that, if the Acolyte's on board, then maybe Psychic Scream is your best out, and you have to wait for that, which also means you're going to take more damage. Also, the Lions is definitely the aggressor in this matchup, which is fun to say about a Control Priest, but the cloning priest will definitely win if they get the cloning gallery on turn 9 with the combo, etc, etc. So also Lions has to beat down their opponent before that.
I don't think that this quote unquote control priest is that much of a straight on control. I feel like a lot of matchups this deck actually does take the very aggressive role. A very important skill in knowing how to play what I would call it referred to as Dragon Mindblast Priest. Mindblast Priest, if I could say those words correctly, that'd be great. Is the fact that you have to figure out when you have to flip, when can you afford to flip the switch, even if you're playing against something like Hunter. Like if you have both of your Mind Blast in hand and a Holy Fire, how do you space out these things correctly in terms of not relying on having the end win? You just go face and kill people in that way. And we can see right now what they're trying to figure out is that do we go aggressive? Do we coin out this Twilight Drake? Do we go for this Acolyte instead? Take a slower approach? Do we go Twilight Drake, and just risk the Mass Hysteria being there? That's what they have to figure out right now because how aggressive can they afford to go?
So I'd like to see the Twilight Drake here, to be honest. I think going aggressive is very good. They're both high HP minions, so they would die to the Mass Hysteria probably because of the trades, but not if you have a low HP minion on board as well, if you're lucky. So overall, I not necessarily agree with this decision, and we will see if it turns out that they are one turn off, so to speak, of winning after this play of the Acolyte. And now we see the Twilight Ray coming down.
Yeah, I think it's just a lot better right now in terms of it's just much cleaner. And also what this is. So let's talk a little bit about what Epic has in hand at the moment. We see Lyra, we see Gaga, we see Radiant Elemental, we see the Zilliax, and we see the Malagos being drawn. So this Xerax Golden Gallery will not be as impactful. That does mean that the lineup of the team of Epic, they have to figure out what's the approach here. Like, how do they approach this game now that they cannot quote unquote cheese out a win on turn 8 or turn 7 or whenever they would go live with Xerax Clone Gallery should they find that card? Because with Malagos being gone, that's a key component gone in that sense. We see right now the Zilliax probably come down, clean off this Acolyte of Pain straight off the bat here. So that's to clean up the Cleric instead, which I guess the Cleric can represent more draws, so I guess this is also a way of doing it. Just to see
Yeah,
how
I like this decision. But to answer your question, I think that the Epic team, Epic Gaming, can win this by playing Velen and then resurrecting Velen over and over again, eventually out-Velening your opponent.
I mean, that definitely can, and I'm not saying that there's no way, but I really like this line here from Oslo, trying to figure out just get as many draws from this Acolyte as possible. Here we can see they have the choice between Visions and Mind Blast right now. And both these cards can't be viable. Generally speaking, you don't really mind Mind Blast, you don't really mind Visions either, really. Both these cards are really good because Visions will most likely in the future be used to fetch for another damage card. So they just decide to just take the Mind Blast right at the bat here instead because that's just how it goes. I'm going to see if they trade off the 4 damage to get the extra draw with the Acolyte. Decide to just trade off the Acolyte here, go face with 4, try to put a little bit of pressure here, just try to see if they can get there somehow because generally speaking, when Priest faces off Priest, it's, I mean, they tend to go quite long, regardless of archetype.
Yup, and I think this will be quite a long game as well. And now is kind of what we see what happens when you don't trade off in that Acolyte with the Zilliax, because now there were 3 options for the Priest to get more cards than 1 from that Acolyte. We saw the Pyromancer here didn't work, but they could also have used the Twilight Acolyte, or if they had drawn it, they could have used the Powered Shield. Well, for the Norshai Cleric, the chance was way smaller that they would get more than 2 draws from it. Of course, in the end, it was still only 2 draws from the Acolyte, but it could have been worse. That's why I'm not sure if I agree with the Epic's choice to not kill the Acolyte, as you mentioned before.
I think, but then again, overall, right? Let's say, I mean, there are no cycle healings in the stack and stuff like that, so massive healing waves are not. I don't think they're even running Divine Hymn. Them being. Actually, never mind. Also, Lions are running Divine Hymn, so probably just trying to think about that later. We see right now, Epic decides to just play out this. To play out this library here because not a whole lot. I mean, if it takes 2 trades on board, you're beyond pleased, and it's not a minion that generally speaking minds to have in your resurrection pool because generally speaking, when you play this version of the Gallery Priest, your resurrection pool is kind of flustered in the first place. While if you play the version with like 5 minions in it, your resurrection pool is pretty standard and not really ruined at all.
So do you go a Twilight Acolyte here and Smork him, threatening to steal it with the Cabal Shadow Priest next turn?
I'm not completely sure about that because when we know the hand for Epic, we know there are no cheap spells in hand at all. Like, just the hand is just dead. It's just minions and 2 Mass Hysterias and a Gaga, right? And a Servitude. And that's just not gonna do anything of note, really. But leaving up Lyra is always scary, and a very important thing to note when you play against this deck. As I actually really like this Dustbreaker because it's a very nice in between plays you get to heal up and play around the Mass Hysteria. But it's the fact that how much respect you have to pay to each minion. I was talking with Fury Hunter about this a while back when we were at a local LAN, and he was saying like a lot of people really misplay against this Gallery Priest the first time they start playing against it because it's very hard to know which minions you can afford to leave up and which minion you can't, and are you going to die if you leave up this Vel in a situation like this? Because sometimes you can afford to leave up those minions, but it's really hard because there's so many things you have to consider. We can see right now they're just going to resurrect the Lyra here, just say that you're not going to deal with this
But
again.
it's so slow. It's so slow to just resurrect the Lyra. It's only 5 HP too. They could Oslo could coin out the Primordial
right?
Drake.
So
The Zilliax is way better.
It's a lot better, yeah. But this still plays
still going to get killed by the Primordial Drake. We're on the same line. Yeah, I do agree. I think we'll see Coin Primordial Drake here. Maybe second Dustbreaker, but I think I like the Coin Primordial Drake. But is it better though? Because it will you don't have the space to heal your Twilight Drake as well.
You could do something
So-
like Coin Dustbreaker Twilight Drake. That's a play
Yeah,
that
I
you could
like
make,
that.
realistically.
Yeah.
Again, it really depends on how heavily they want to play around Mass Hysteria. I'm not completely sure how that would play into that. I feel like the healthy Drake would stick around more or less guaranteed. However, if the Dustbreaker and the Twilight Drake both go into that Drake, you are gonna be losing out. It seems like it's a play that will be made. They're gonna go for the current Promoter Drake instead, which I can get behind as well. It's a lot more
Yeah, it's not
safe
bad.
against Mass Hysteria, so this is probably what. On our end, this is 8 power in place. It does warrant some sort of removal, and they have probably made the read by now that there will be no Scream in hand, and that's just normal. We see right now they're considering to go Gargoyle Hysteria, I guess, which is a play that is definitely true, and it does help you buffing up the Spellstone.
Here we do, because of course there are 2 Mass Hysterias in the hand, so you're not sad about wasting one, quote unquote. And of course you relieve some of the pressure that your opponent had, but we also see the Spirit Lash in hand. So after this Cloning Gallery, they can heal up to kind of full with the Spirit Lash and Velen on board.
Yeah, and right now, it's just an interesting position to be in for the South Alliance side, because they have double Twilight Acolyte. Generally speaking, those are a little bit dead in the matchup, because a lot of minions tend to get stuck hard on the board, especially on this matchup where you have the potential threat of Cabal Shadow Priest. I just haven't checked that they are running 2 copies of it as Alliance. We see Twilight Drake. I mean, you go something like Twilight Drake and the Acolyte, which would be kind of okay. But again, should something like another Hysteria come down or Scream, something like that, you just completely lose everything you have in hand. And right now, what they need to do is find a way to get this. They have to find a way to get Epic Esports down to 15 HP, because if they get to 15 HP, they have the double Mind Blast Holy Fire in hand already, so they have the damage to close this game out. We just have to figure out what's the best way of getting there. And with no Anwin on turn 8 either, getting there with the pings is a little bit less unlikely. It's less likely these days, but let's see what goes
Well,
down
it definitely doesn't help not to have the Anduin, and now Epic knows as well that there's no.
and Lich King drawn, but that's actually really bad.
There's
There's one less minion
that's
for the
bad.
gallery. Sorry for interrupting, but that's actually a pretty huge draw if they were going to go for the gallery in the first place. But that seems to be the most likely play. You know, like right now, like Lich King alone does seem like a fairly okay play, even though it does die on board, but then again, it just takes care of the entire board on its own, should that be a thing. But then again,
if there
no
were no
Acolytes
Twilight Acolytes, yeah.
Again, no Acolytes. Seen a lot of cards being held in hand for a long time right now, and with those Acolytes being still being held in hand, any big minion right now just becomes a potential threat against yourself and not for you at the moment, right? That's something to know.
So if they play the Lich King, there's a 1 in 8 chance that they kind of lose on the spot with the Acolyte into a draw top deck Cabal Shadow Priest.
I don't think that necessarily means you lose on the spot, because if you in turn self end up landing something like another taunt yourself,
I got
or something
Spirit
like
Lash. Yeah, Cloning Gallery Spirit Lash is quite a lot of heal on such a full board.
Yeah, and something to note is that if the Epic Esports lineup did not go for any type of taunt right now, they would be dead to Double Mind Blast Holy Fire, which is not super likely. No, I'm not saying that that's the most likely play in the world, but however, it's the thing they have to consider in these situations. And I'd say pretty good recognition from them, not realizing that they have to stay at a healthy life total. So if you are Oslo here, looking at like Twilight Acolyte double trade, it keeps your minions alive. Give yourself a medium, like 2 medium threats as well, but you're not pushing that ever so important face damage that you need to close out this game, because you don't really want that taunt to get back in the pool, because once that taunt starts getting rust, then you're never really going to get to the face, and the damage that you have in hand right now seems pretty inconsequential if you cannot get there overall.
But you don't really have a choice, do you? You can't really use your Holy Fire to deal with the 8/8. Of course, you could, but it's more direct damage that you're wasting. If you Psychic Scream this, you have nothing left on board. So I guess the Twilight Acolyte, even though it doesn't feel good, is the best mid play here.
Oh, no, this Acolyte feels great. It's not like it does. This Acolyte feels really good. It's just the fact that putting this Lich King back into the Resurrection Pool may not be what you want to happen to you. Have happened to you
Also,
if you are
use
Oslo.
8. You also use 8 damage here, and how does that feel that great? This is damage that you wanted to push face, and now because your opponent has so many cards in hand, they have all the answers they need, or at least that's how you feel like. And if we look at the hand, it's kind of true.
So a thing to note right now is that this So this, so for Epic, this Master right now looks incredibly juicy because it can get rid of the entire board. Like most of the time, this Master gets rid of the entire board. However, if it doesn't and this 4-8 lives, then you're not going to be happy with yourself. So that's probably why they're throwing in this Radiant Elemental, just to guarantee it, or they're going for another line.
Couldn't you Maligos coin Spirit Lash?
You could do that as well, but he's going to go for the... is this just... There's no way this is lethal damage, but this is how it does heal you up for quite a bit. It's never lethal, but it heals you for quite a bit if you go for it. Because the Definite Decay does help you clean up the board alongside the Spirit Lash. This is a super clean board clear. And it also, in the process, you can get healed up. A little bit of a mis-sequencing there, because unless they want to commit... It looks like they won't commit the Spirit Lash then. Okay, that's not... Okay, so they are... That means they just lost out on... They just lost out on 6 feet. Doesn't matter because they were going to heal to 4 regardless, but a little bit of a sequencing error there. Which right now is pretty inconsequential. But something that we might see Oslo go for right now is just going to jam down at Alex. Yeah.
Yep. And it will be answered immediately by Anduin. But still, it feels pretty good to use Alex here. You put your opponent on 15, even with Anduin, it's still only 20. It's by far your best option.
I definitely agree with that. Like again, right now from Oslo, they're just one Mind Blast away from closing out the game. Should Epic not heal their face before going to and rate their own ping higher, which I find very unlikely for them to do, considering how heavily they respected damage output coming through from us Alliance. So it's going to be already right now. Already hovering that hero power and just going to get themselves back up to 21, it would seem. Or are we going to be doing a 22 rather? Are we going to do a... is there a different line you could take right now? Because you need to get yourself back up above, like at least above 15, right? So you could go Spellstone. You could go like Spellstone, Heal Face, and Visions, which means you would Visions first. But getting rid of the Alex Strauss itself just seems super, super clean, and that's what they're going to do with this Celery Banduin. And no draw in the deck for Oslo will represent lethal right here and right now, so they have to figure out something, because if they don't find their own Anduin right now, they are in a very bad spot. And that was not a legendary ball, and that's a wild Pyromancer, and that
There's
does
no other dragon
damage.
than Duskbreaker as well, so Duskbreaker doesn't deal with the 2/3 Radiant Elemental that's left. That's also a small issue. The Diamond Spellstone for Epic will be active on 4 minions next turn, which also means that they can start getting the spells that they need. But as you said, surviving for now more important, and they are surviving very well, I must say. There's almost no way for Oslo to actually put pressure on the board. They can put a few minions on, but what's it going to do? Not that much, really.
It really isn't going to do a whole lot. However, the good thing for Oslo Alliance is the fact that they have found their holy fast. They do have access to a bit of spot heal should they so choose to, in case they are afraid of dying at any specific point of the game. Also, very fortunate for Oslo Alliance is the fact that there's no Malagos in the Resurrection Pool. Not that it's super likely for it to be rest right now, but you just see right here Oslo just going wide on board with both Pyromancer as well as the Skeleton and the Zeus that they just trying to see if they can find somehow to get over the line, and that's a good gargoyle draw. That's not the best thing in the world here for this Epic Esports side, but I'm assuming we're going to start off with the Visions or a Ping here, either one of those two.
Well, we're going to start off with a ping into Shadow Vision, so I guess this is going to be a value turn, not really a turn where they're going to do anything else. Ooh, Mind Blast seems pretty good here, especially with that Velen you get on board through the Spellstone later.
The Velen's not guaranteed though, and right now the Spellstone itself is only at 3 minions. It might be 4, and I actually wouldn't mind seeing the... yeah, it's going to upgrade, but I wouldn't mind seeing the second Spellstone being chosen, but I feel like having that Mind Blast is just going to help you close out the game super rapidly, and as you say, it does upgrade to 4, and... Should Spellstone bring back a Radiant Elemental plus Velen, that would only be 10 damage, so that would not be enough, so again... They have to find a way to figure out 14 extra damage as well as this Malagos. And right now, something that Oslo has going for them is the fact that they have actually held back the Psychic Scream right now. They haven't had a position to use it in, granted that. But the second a Malagos comes down, that thing is going to get screamed right back into the deck with no cap, with like nothing else to going for the Epic Esports side. So right now, the maximum amount of damage that Epic can represent is very, very, very slim. And I mean, Divine Hymn, sure, it's a good healing card, but right now does absolutely nothing, and no
Not
Anduin's
what
still
you're
found.
looking for.
Bottom 12 Anduin right now is not what you're looking for, especially not in the priest versus priest, because you need that pressure coming out every turn.
Yep, and for this now, it looks Epic is just playing it really slowly because they know if the best you can do is play an Ooze and a Pyromancer, then that's not that great. So yes, you could draw an out, but there is not really one card that's going to win you the game from here on. I guess Anduin is one of the cards that really helps your chances. But the longer the game goes, I think Epic is getting in a better and better position. Here we go, Oslo trying to start the burn down. If they're like, okay, if we draw the third Mind Blast, I think there's still one left, and then we get Anduin, I guess we can still win, but they don't have any other resources that they can really play.
No, and again, this entire deck is more or less revolving around Anduin. Like Anduin is the main engine in this deck, and did not really get that many draws out in the other game. Kind of like Epic really did limit the options for drawing to a certain extent, and there's one reason. Like maybe it's just me not being good enough at the priest deck itself. Or however, whenever I played, I feel like I'm at the mercy of my draw in terms of finding Anduin in a lot of the situations.
Yep, definitely agree. And now it's quite a hard turn for Epic because they're like, okay, so you have no threats left. Should we just do nothing or wait to just ping you down slowly? They're hovering the Malygos. Well, that at least gives your opponent the chance to use their Psychic Stream. So I guess Oslo would be kind of happy with that. But there's no threat on board. You don't really have to do anything except to you kind of want to heal up, I guess. And they agree on not doing anything at all. Just push the face, 6 damage, it's fine. You can wait.
So they find a skull worm, which will in fact help them remove a little few things. But then again, are they gonna respect the coin? So I kind of feel like just skull worm and heal your face here feels like a fine play unless something else is better. I don't know.
I don't see anything else that's better.
No, I really don't see it either. And the problem again is the fact that with bottom 10 Anduin, right, you're not really in a strong position here, and the thing is that he's just not in a good spot. And overall, let's say that Epic Esports just decides to jam down Malagas next turn. You can't, and the top and Oslo top decks, they're Anduin. They're just not gonna have the time to play that right now. Maybe it's really hard to see. I really like this play though. Just using this Divine Hymn, knowing that you don't need the Divine Hymn as an extra resource in terms for the Anduin. You just use it for healing, so it's fine right now. Eternal Solitude Founder. This could start putting the pressure onto this Oslo Lions side. This could bring back the Velen. A lot of cards have died right now, so Velen is not the most. Is not a guaranteed outcome of this Eternal Servitude. But if this Velen is found, this could be absolutely massive.
And I think this also shows for Oslo Lions how this control or Dragon Mind Blast priest as you call it is not really an aggro deck and not really a control deck. It's kind of in between, so it loses against a combo deck like the Cloning Priest. It doesn't lose immediately because it can stall out really well, but in the end it does feel like Oslo Lions is just going to straight up lose. And of course not drawing Anduin doesn't help, but I don't feel like Epic got that much value from their Anduin except for killing the Alex and pinging 6 damage maybe.
Which is fine. Like, it doesn't. It's not about the damage output just being like the deck. The Clone Priest does not rely on the Anduin pings. That second Scream draw is absolutely huge, I'd say, here for Oslo, because this Lich King itself, which is looking like you wouldn't be able to deal with it, right? There's nothing in hand outside the second Scream, but like if you use the first Scream without having the backup Scream, Malagas becomes a minion that you could just jam down, and you have no legit answer for Malagas. And I wouldn't be surprised right now to see Epic just go for the Malagas. However, I do expect them to go for the Spellstone. We see the Psychic Scream.
Draw.
Yeah, it's just a redraw. See how this is gonna go. They just decide to replay it because you just saw the Scream, and you know there's no answer in hand for this Oslo Lions side. But however, the draw of Anduin is becoming more and more likely as we're speaking right now. Set at 10% this turn, so they have to figure out a way, like what their highest likelihood place of surviving are. And right now, maybe if they could get that Malagas down, just slam it down, it might just be the spot they're looking for to get it in here. Because if they get that Malagas into the pool, sticking around the board, the Spellstone more or less representative by itself. We see they're just going to jam down the Lich King, use the hero power, set up lethal, more or less, and with the possible resurrection from Velen as well as the Death Call and Mind Blast here. So if they don't find this Anduin, which they are not going to do, they're in a
This
pretty
feels so bad.
awkward spot. I mean, the Promoter stuff is actually not the worst thing in the world because it does block the 8 damage from Lich King coming through. But yet again, like the main prowess of Lich King is the fact that it's just the value generation, the attrition level it offers, and a deck like Gallery Priest that relies so much on burn spells, being able to generate extra ones like that Death Coil or the Death Decay that we saw earlier on. That's just, it's a massive threat in itself, and Alliance have to figure out if they can afford to use the Psychic Scream or not. They're just going to go with this Primordial Drake, because the main damage of Lich King will be blocked by Primordial Drake, but maybe that's not enough. I don't know. Again,
It's not going to solve all your problems, that's for sure.
It definitely isn't.
Also, Alliance is not drawing what they need. They need the Anduin, they're not getting it. They need a Cabal Priest, I guess, would be kind of good. Not getting it. They're still there, and then it feels even worse that when you scream the Lich King, it instantly gets drawn again, 1 in 12. Why can't you have that luck? And overall, it just feels kind of unlucky for Oslo Lion.
I mean, Velen just coming into the hand right now for Epic, like the natural Velen. So that's just an extra copy of Velen that right now could come down. So something to note here is the fact that with the increased likelihood of Oslo drawing the Velen, like the other one, they don't want to commit the Velen because they don't want to commit Melon and Lich King on the same bot because they would just get completely blown out. But that does open up your options right here to just play down a Malagos, for example, or do something else. There are a lot of options with his hand right now. You can go something like you can go for something like Mass Hysteria, which I think will still allow you to push 8 damage with the minion afterwards, because I don't think Mass Hysteria used up the attack.
That's correct.
So that would be that's a potential way of pushing.
That would be a very cute play.
That would be a really good play. Just decide they're just going to go natural attack for it. I'm not really sure what else you're looking to use this Mass Hysteria for in the future, though, because you're never going to be losing for board, and it would allow you to ping twice more. And instead, they're just going to go for the Death Call to the face, realizing that they don't want to lose out to any cheesy burns. Decide to just rather use it for healing 5 than dealing 10 in the future. And is this the draw? Oh, did they burn out here? Did they rope out? Did not get it? What's going on here?
They did rope out.
Yeah.
That was a waste of a coin, and a coin is actually really important.
Power Shield is still live. Power Shield can still be enough right now, and I'm expecting Oslo to Power Shield this Lich King in hopes of drawing that Sherry Bandwin. It's a one in.
The other option is, of course, Twilight Acolyte into Power Shield it. But I like your way better, and also Alliance does as well. Power
They
Shield
find
the
Anduin.
Lich King. What do you know? It is the Anduin.
That's the game.
Finally.
But fun to note here right now is the fact that with only 1 mana left, they cannot get the extra ping in, and this means that they're still having to look for lethal over the course of 2 turns ish, rather than just the one turn. And right now,
Still
if they
a
don't
Psychic Stream.
they do still have the Psychic Scream. However, with the Spellstone, there's a lot of extra damage coming through. You see that now they're just going to jam down the Melody. This is what I was talking about. This is what I was talking about. Right now, there's just an opening for the gallery piece to just jam down that Malagos, and you can't. If you're Oslo, you cannot afford to let this stick around, but also you cannot really afford to use the Psychic Scream because it's your last added to his boss situation. You do have the Master
Still no Cabal Shadow Priest, and there's 2 in the deck as well, so it's in 2 in your last 5.
Yeah, that was obviously what they were looking for by going for that thing, going for the shield, right? Because it's very high likelihood of them drawing in stats. And let's see, Spellstone found here for Epic,
Yeah,
but I'll
not
just
that important. But they're not really looking for anything anymore.
Nope, they aren't. They have everything they need to close out the game, and however, Oslo Lions are looking in a kind of grim position here. They do have the good old 16 damage turn rather, but they still need to get that extra 4 damage down with no healing being found for the Lion side, not from the Lion side, from the Epic Esports side, and no villain found in this pool is actually pretty huge, I'd say.
Yeah, this is kind of painful.
It limits the amount of healing coming down for this Spirit Lash should the should Oslo Lions choose to go for Mass Hysteria here. I don't know. I'm not sure if there's any more dragons left for Oslo Lions, because if they top deck a dragon here, they can just steal this Ciliax and make sure that no extra healing will be found. However, Spirit Lash will probably just be enough to close out the game in terms of healing. But again, it really depends on how Epic Esports decided to space it out here because they have a lot of options, and with a lot of options comes a lot of choices to make and a lot of mistakes to make as well, and a lot of really good lines to choose as well. So
I really thought you were going to say, with a lot of options come a lot of responsibility.
with great options comes great responsibility. Yeah, that was totally what's going to happen. Because see, Northshire Cleric is not really what you're looking for right now, but we see a Master come down, just clearing up the spot for the best of his ability right now. Which does mean 3 extra HP going over to the side of Epic Esports here, and this also means an overdraw for Epic, which could be relevant.
What could it be that would be relevant, to be honest?
Second copy of Mind Blast would be pretty relevant.
Mind Blast would be painful.
Power Shield, not so much. So
there we go. Second Resurrect. Only two minions on the second Spellstone for now, so it wouldn't be that impactful.
I mean, you just jammed
you've
down
seen
the
all the
right?
removal. Yeah, you've seen everything.
You just like jam Velen, and if anything comes down, you just heal for 4. Like we heal for 2 extra for everything they play next turn in terms of their Spirit Lash. I don't think right now this is a very, very intense game because a lot of things, as I said before, they're just tanking on the edge right now. They have to figure out how they do this the best way. I mean, I'm looking more towards the Velen itself. You could even with the coin get 8 damage out of this turn if you really so would like to. So options are really, really interesting for them right now.
Yeah, and that's the problem, right? This deck is really hard to play because you have to think of what combo and what permutation you're going to use. We saw earlier that they had trouble finishing their turn before the end of the rope, and we might see it again, which actually could end up in them losing the game because they can't finish their turn. They're throwing away a card now. Mass Hysteria does literally nothing, but that's okay because it resets your hero power. But that's okay because they don't have any use for it anyway.
Shadow Vision is huge. I believe there's still Mind Blast left in deck here for Oslo, and this is a lot of extra damage that they might need, and this means that they can guarantee lethal more or less next turn if Epic doesn't go for any healing here. So I'm expecting we start to see the ping to the face. They might be looking towards if there's anything they want to use in terms of controlling the board. I highly doubt they will ever put 10 damage into this Grizzly, so I think it's just trying to figure out what's the best choice of action right now for them.
Yeah, putting in 10 damage in the Grizzly is really difficult to do as well. So I think they're not going to.
It's just straight up bad, but you have to figure out something else. See Celebration's coming down for that Mind Blast that we can't see right now. That does mean that there are 20 damage coming from hand in just natural cards over the next few turns. We see as long as this Dustbreaker stays in hand, any bigger minion can just be stolen away with Trial Acolyte plus Cabal Shadow Priest, which also might be one of the reasons why this Velen has not come down just yet, because they don't want the Oslo Mind Blast to do 10 rather than 5, and that's also a very, very standard outcome, so I'm fine with this. Let's see what's going on right now. Second Host Might found, does that ever represent lethal?
Let's see. So they have Velen, Mind Blast, Double Holy Smite. Is that lethal?
I'm not sure if you. I don't know. Is that lethal? You did the math.
It's 21, I think. It's 21 damage.
With the Grizzly on with Grizzly.
Yeah, together with the Grizzly.
Is it 21 with the Grizzly?
Yeah.
Oh damn.
Unlucky.
That would be a pretty cold play still, though.
And now they have to risk it. They have to do something to win. They're going to put on the Spirit Lash because they know it's their only way of really healing a lot. And if they don't, they're dying. So this heals for 8 HP, I think. But that might not be enough if they draw the last.
It only heals for 4, right? Oh, it heals for 4.
It should heal for 8.
Oh, it heals because
it doubles.
Yeah, the damage is 1. So the third copy of Mind Blast draw here for Oslo will provide lethal. If not, this game will more or less be lost unless I'm missing something.
Okay, so either you draw the Mind Blast or you can steal the Velen.
They can steal the Velen, which is still pretty huge, but they can't really put anything damage-wise out throughout this turn. And in hand alone, right now we are looking at 7 damage plus 2 pings, which in fact would be 9. So right now they're still lethal in the hand of Epic Esports because us Lions cannot heal, but this is still their best option.
And I think we haven't seen a Psychic Scream yet from Epic, so there's a 1 in 4 chance of them drawing it.
It doesn't matter, right? They still just win the game. Ping face, Smite face. You have double coins, so really? You can get out of it.
Yeah, you're right. They should be lethal. 7 plus 6. They should be able to get their hero power off 3 times. So yeah, there we go. And they even have the 3 damage from the Witchwood Grizzly. And if they
Yeah,
can
they have
count,
double
which I
counter.
expect them to be able, yeah, exactly, they should be able to finish the game in this turn. So this was quite an interesting game, quite long as well. Went to the rope multiple times, but in the end, Epic takes the Priest clone Wars. Am I going to get sued now?
I don't know. I mean, it would have been a lot better had it been had it been two cloning gallery priests going at it, but that doesn't matter right now. We see a little bit of unfortunate draws on Oslo Science side, right? Had they found that Anwin, you know, a little bit earlier, not bottom 10 cards up their deck, and had they maybe had a Shadow Priest as well, this would have been a lot more different, and this game could have gone their way instead. I feel this matchup was very close, and yeah, again, you can also argue that the Epic Esports side is a little unlucky, right? They drew their Malagas before they were able to get their gallery off and stuff like that too. A lot of interesting things to talk about in that game, and right now we're going into game number 2. And what deck do you think the Epic Esports will be going with now? They have 2 remaining decks left: a Hunter and a Rogue. I want to say that's probably right.
Yeah.
Wrong, though.
So
It's even Warlock or Hunter. So yeah, what?
Assuming that the Oslo is going to keep playing the Priest, which I wouldn't think unlikely, I'd say they go with the Hunter. And the Hunter is in general better as well. So would you like going up 2-0 instead of 1-1?
I mean, generally speaking, being up 2-0 is pretty good. Even though, generally speaking, everyone in football says that 2-0 is the most dangerous lead. I'm not really sure that really transfers to Hearthstone, but I don't know. I just think you always prefer being up 2-0, though, right? So.
As Europeans and our football. Oh yeah, good times. So yeah, we're waiting. Also really thinking through what are they going to play next. They're not really sure yet, I guess. And for Epic, the same, of course.
Again, it's very important, right? Because is this your tournament life on the line? Right. These are the playoffs of the House Rivalries, and you do not want to lose out here. You want to be able to take the throne as the best Hearthstone team, or one of the best Hearthstone teams in Europe, being the House Rivalries champion. Having that to hold over, other organizations, right?
You've already beaten like Nordavind, you've beaten New Dynasty, one way better than the other, of course. You've beaten ENS and the M&M Gaming as well. These are all good teams that are already out, so at least you've made top 4. But if you're here at top 4, you might as well want to go straight until the. Or is this is top 6? Top 6, yeah. There were 12 or 10 teams in total.
12 competitors won then. 12 competitors win, then 6 now remain. Only 1 can stand in House Rivalries Battle Royale right here on CCGG_.
I like how my math is off when I'm out of Hearthstone, but it's good when I'm in Heart.
That's how it's supposed to be, right? I don't know. Again,
what's better than the other way around, I guess, if you like to play Hearthstone.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess. I mean, generally speaking, having a functioning brain is a pretty good thing, I say.
Yeah, I'm kind of doubtful about that as well, but it's fine.
Yeah, so I don't really know what's going on right now. I mean, again, this is really hard for each team. Also, again, because so it was a long game, right? But again, right now you're in a situation where you potentially have 2 mirror matches that you kind of maybe you want to avoid them, or you have to figure out, do you want to take these mirror matches, right? Because these lineups are like, with the decks left, these lineups are fairly mirrored. In fact, you have Priest, Warlock, and Hunter for both teams, and you don't really want to and then mirror matchups are always iffy, and with the way that they have constructed their even Warlock, they do not want to run into the mirror because they don't have the tools to go along in the same manner or fashion that the Epic Esports even Warlock does have. So, and again, the Hunter build from Epic is a little bit interesting. It's tacked a little bit more towards the mirror with the inclusion of a Headhunter's Hatchet over. Actually, they have 1 cancer and 1 hatchet, and the hatchet obviously is a lot better because it takes out Razor Maw. It can help take out Dymos alongside the Springpole and stuff like that. So that meta matchup you probably do not want to take a lot of the time, because the list that Oslo is running right now has double Hunter's Mark. So, but they want to run that double Hunter's Mark list into the even Warlock most of the time, and they have to figure out which list Epic is the most likely to queue up right now.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it, like, if we believe her, an analyst, and of course it's not that straightforward, every game the Warlocks will play, they will lose. So in the end, it will be a Warlock mirror anyway. Of course, it's not that straightforward. The Hunter could draw bad, or a Priest could draw bad, and you could beat it with the Warlock. But according to the odds, the Warlock should always lose, except against the other Warlock. So if you get a win with a Warlock, if you get a surprise win, like if you play it now, you draw well, you play well, you get the win, then you feel so relieved because you've had your hardest matchup. So that might also be a reason to actually do play the Warlock right now in this second game of the series.
All right, so a little bit of a fun thing. There's two players, Lights and RD, are currently living together, which is interesting. So they have to use the same restroom. So that's a whole different level of mind games, though. Just like imagine being able to just like go into the other room and just like go in, like just try to like I don't know, how do you say this in a fashion that doesn't sound bad on broadcast, but just like
I don't think
try
you
try
can.
try no you can do like just try to tilt your opposing team.
There we go.
Going into game two.
We're
Let's figure out what's
going.
going on right now. Just the sheer amount of mind games until you can do. We see this is going to be Oslo sticking to the Priest and the Epic side going for this Hunter. So what is the?
That's exactly what I expected. Yay.
Yeah. So who is this? Is this 2-0 for Epic? Is this 1-1?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
I mean,
don't think there's a clear favorite. I would say I like Epic Gaming's chances here. So if I would have to say 1-1 or 2-0, I think it's 2-0. But don't pin me on it.
Down this once Oslo goes 1-1. I don't know. I'm not sure. I feel this matchup can go both ways, and it also really depends on the Hunter build. I mean, even Freeze Mage versus Odd Warrior can be won by Freeze Mage sometimes. Not that likely, but it did happen, right? It happened once or twice because stuff, but that doesn't matter right now. See, the Decisive Throwaway design, and even though it's a key card in the deck, they just need to find the Dustbreakers. They just need to find these tools to survive. And while Pyromancer, Acolyte, and Dustbreaker are all three really key cards in the matchup, but obviously no coin, stuff like that, could be makes this while Pyromancer a little bit less useful. Obviously no Northside Cleric as well. Northside Cleric being the main card in this matchup. Just getting on the board, getting there, really contest everything, draw some cards. It's just good. Good stuff.
Oslo Alliance has 3 cards to draw a dragon, and there's the news. That's pretty good because you can immediately deal with the Candle Shield. Would you even play the Pyromancer here just to put pressure?
No,
apparently you don't.
You have to answer later cards. We see here is even like a Ball Shadow Priest, but yet again, no Dragon here. Now you have to figure out, do you want to commit this Gluttonous Zeus? Because should something like a Huffer come from another companion, this Hyena is pretty hard to answer. Should not Dragon be found with this Dustbreaker, and you could just start being run off board here, so I don't know.
I don't know either, and the weapon is not that much of a threat. The Hyena is not that much of a threat either.
I don't mind this. I don't really mind this. I think I feel like this is a good play. I mean, overall, I feel like the likelihood of you finding Dragon is pretty high right now, and let's say something like a Misha comes down. You're actually in the night right now. You're actually hoping for Huffer or Leok, not Misha right now, because then this is the best play around Dustbreaker. We see Scale 1 being found. This is actually a massive draw for Oslo right here. Just get rid of that, takes the board back completely, and right now, from the look of things, the Epic Esports sides will be looking for different ways to answer this. So this is interesting.
For the Hunter, the pressure game is already over. They're going to go into the Deathstalker Rexar on turn 5 with the coin probably, and then just try to outvalue the Priest.
So, okay, so Olivian, how many division skill heights are going to speed this game?
Depends on how lucky we are. If we're lucky, not that many.
Like I say, if we are lucky as in the viewers, because you don't want the game to go mad long. But obviously, scale height, generally speaking, if you follow the crane, you take something, it doesn't matter on the first one, and you just take the one that says lives to the rush in the second one.
So this, using this kill command also points towards we're going into Deathstalker Rexar, and it's going to be a long game. We don't need that kill command to finish you.
Yeah, and they also kept the Rexar in hand. And obviously, in team environments much like this one, you will be hand tracking a lot of the time. You might have one player specifically set hand track. I know that a lot of people have this for HGG. Obviously, HGG included 4 players that could hand track, where you just there's like one guy to hand track for you, but it might not be as standard here. But for this overall, you will know that this card has been kept since turn 1 in the hand right now, this Rexar. So just to see what's going to happen here. You could go for the Visions. You could hold the Visions to go towards the Pyromancer. Obviously, you could just steal away this 1 free next turn to you. So choose with the Cabal Shadow Priest. So you're not under that much pressure right now.
Yeah, I think you pass. Just straight up end turn.
But yeah, again, and this thing is like again, like obviously, why they're not passing if they're not gonna play anything? This is a free tournament to talk about what they like how they're gonna space out the game from here on out. Because if they have no decisions to make in this turn specifically, they can just put that time into. And if you decide to go for the Shadow Visions, though, finds a Hymn and a Scream and a Mind Blast. Either of those options are actually fine.
Yeah,
I do prefer the Scream. I do prefer the Scream, though. However, I think that's the correct choice. But and they are going to commit this Wild Pyromancer into potential Coin Rexar here. But if it's not Coin Rexar, then
no, they're not.
They're going to hold that back. Sorry, but they were hovering and they were discussing it, and I don't know. Let's see what's going to happen right here, though. I don't think you're going to go for Coin Rexar right now. I feel like Master's Call itself is just fine. There's a lot of card draw. It could potentially find one of those high mains, and right now you're probably looking more towards high main on 6 rather than Rexar in this position right now. You see here,
and you get the Tundra right as well. It's so weak to Cabal Shadow Priest though, so I don't think you're ever not afraid to play it after turn 6 unless you've already seen 2 Cabal Shadow Priests. But do you think we'll see the Shadow Priest here?
I don't think so. However, this spot would have been very primed for a Pyromancer cleanup, and with no way for the Pyromancer to actually trigger on this board, it seems like it's not gonna be the case right here. But again, it's very hard, right? Because you could commit this Cabal Shadow Priest, but you're just seeing your opponent use Master's Call, so you're kind of aware that there most likely will be something like either a high main or it's on the random hand. We see, and here is the hard pass we were talking about in the previous turn, and to see what the lineup thought here is going to be for
I like how this matchup just changes over time. At first, you have beatdown Hunter just going to pressure you, hope they can win from there. That didn't really work out. They didn't have that good of an early game, and they rolled Leok. So they went into kill command on the minion and probably play Rexar. Rexar didn't get played, or they expected Rexar, so they just used Shadow Visions. They didn't think they would need the Pyromancer Shadow Visions, but then Rexar didn't get played, and there would actually board was created. So it changed up again, and now they finally do play Rexar.
Yeah, again, we see right now is the fact that there's going to be healing the face and passing again. No Dragon Thumb, but Dustbreaker, and this board itself does not warrant a Psychic Dream, so nothing to really do right now here. So if you are Epic, you're going to start building some beaches. See that Cave Hydra, that Beta Tide Hydra, both of these options are very much so prime choices for you. So just see
Hydras
what's going to happen. Hydras are generally speaking pretty good. Just a shame that both of them are actually rotating, so no more 5-mana 8/8s. I want a Cave Hydra to be a thing for so long. They actually chose the General Mega, so it would seem, because it would probably fit the
play this turn, I guess. Yep. So yeah, first they took away our 4-mana 7/7. Now they take away our 5-mana 8/8. What's left of the world after this?
I mean, no Rexile. We see right here, this itself is actually fine. This is also a nice medium way to push damage through a potential Shadow Randwind, because yeah, you lose one of your beasts, you lose your first zombies, but like it's not really that great either. But we'll see.
This is
no
perfect.
Dragon
Like you threaten enough to force
an
answer,
it's perfect for Epic. That's what I mean. It's perfect for Epic. It's not. Yeah, it's just not great for Oslo. That was what I meant.
Oh, that's definitely correct, because you do force an answer, but it doesn't feel good for Oslo Lions to answer this with a Psychic Scream.
I'm actually interested. Like, if you're Psychic Scream, do you put in the North Shake like you used to play around the second Hunter's Mark? Not Hunter's Mark, Master's Call, rather. I keep mixing those two cards up for some reason.
Yeah, or if you don't Psychic Scream, what are you going to do?
I don't know,
Like Twilight Acolyte and not do anything? I guess you want to keep the Twilight Acolyte to combo it with the Cabal Shadow Priest on a very good minion, and they did Psychic Scream it after all.
They did. I was just trying to see if you were like going to North Shake, exactly the North Shake. We see right now, I feel like we build a beast again, and then we just go from there. I feel like we have plays that are pretty good with 7 or 8 mana still, so yeah, just build a beast Find an Office, which is actually a pretty good
Harvest.
card. It's a nice pressure
Yup.
card. It does give you a lot of extra value. Obviously, Death Knight cards are generally speaking pretty good, as we saw last game with the Death Decay more or less sealing off the game. Help Epic get onto the back
Mortal
of the board.
Coil as well.
Yeah, I see Raptor Hatchling be the choice though, from what I could see, and these
With the
aren't
Stegoth on
fantastic
there, maybe?
options. I mean, I like Cobra too. Stay on a
So
Cobra.
you put
fine.
down a threat that is threatening, but it doesn't really do anything else. Like, it's a 4/7, yeah, it's annoying, but are you going to use removal on this? No, you don't want to.
No,
But
again,
can you keep it there? Can you keep it alive? Yeah, probably. Yeah, I guess. Oh,
That's
finally a
fine to
dragon.
find a
That's
dragon.
nice.
But, I actually like this because it's just a big enough minion for you to set up a board that actually does quite a few things for yourself right here. And I'm just like, sure, there's a lot of removal options here in the hand for Epic, but none of these removal options really get for a 2/7 in a nice, clean fashion. This, however, does open up this turnaround to come down. Should they be able to find a way to clean up the board, though? But again, I'm interested to see how this actually will work out.
Leok Unleash, or if it's not Leok, I guess you play the Tundra Rhino. You've seen the Cabal Shadow Priest, so you're not that afraid of another one. Nope, it's still going to be Unleash, but that's kind of unlucky. I think I like the Tundra Rhino better with the Timberwolf and
It really depends, right? Because if you don't want to, because a lot of cards have been held in hands, a lot of cards are situational, so you don't want to commit a massive. And this right now here don't also just screw up this board state value. Okay, I'd say right. It gets rid of everything apart from the 4/5, which right now trades naturally into the Zemisha. Just I think this is fine. And had that been a Huffer instead, it would have been a full block there right at the bat within your own control. I think this play itself, I can get behind this. And this Primordial top deck is actually pretty good. You
play
Primordial
Drake and just heal up your 4/5, not trade?
I can get behind that. It looks like we're in for a different line of play here from what I can see. While Pyromancer Shadow Visions heal, right now we're looking for Divine Him. I assume this is play for Divine Him. They don't find Divine Him. They do find a Holy Fire, Magus, and a Mass Hysteria. And right now, I'm not sure which one is the better one. I feel like with
Holy
no
Fire.
here, I feel like Holy Fire obviously for me right now does stand out as being the good one. But right now you have no other answers to a wider boss hit as part of that Psychic Scream, so Mass Hysteria might be the option. But Holy Fire is such a good card because
Do you expect a lot of more whiteboards though?
You don't really do that, and also why you will be going about Holy Fire here. So I'm expecting a heal onto this 4/4, and should a Divine Hymn be found in this draw, you are absolutely golden. If Divine Hymn is found, this is a massive draw for us Alliance.
So I was about to say, this actually looks pretty decent for Epic with the Thunder Rhino and the double Spring Ball. It's fine, and then they found a Divine Hymn, and now it doesn't look that good for Epic anymore. Oh, it still looks pretty good though.
This is a massive draw, man. It's an absolutely unbelievably huge draw. And we can see right now. Sure, that's a Scavenging Hyena. You do have a Spring Ball in hand still, but you have no Unleashed hands. You have nothing really of note besides that. And we see Life-Drawing Specimen and Office being found right here. Specimen is interesting because it's just a big minion, right? Life-Drawing is just good as well. Yeah. Office has its applications, but I feel like Specimen might just be the better option. It really depends on how they want to space out their turn, though. And we see Iron Aggressive Giant Wasp and Young Dragonheart. I think they chose the Young Dragonheart because obviously Windfear is a pretty good mechanic overall. Because if you stake the 1 minion down, they just tend to do a lot of damage. And we see, it feels like Rhino Springpore Hyena will still just be the play because overall it's the most solid one that just puts up the most threatening board situation. However, this board state itself is still very threatening, and right now this isolates this 4/4 on the board deck, and you can actually clear it off as well if you so would choose and just leave this 2/5 in play, which again seems like a pretty solid play. I assume is a good play. It's a play I want to go for here, but again, you have a 2/4 in play, and 2/4 is not that great, and this singular card.
This zombies is not that. This zombies is not that great with the Tundra Rhino either, because it kills your Tundra Rhino.
It doesn't. That is definitely
it doesn't?
true. It does, and I said it's not that great. It doesn't synergize very well with the Tundra Rhino. However, with this Holy Fire right now just being the general play, what is the other option for you? I assume you could go try a Drake Holy Fire here. It looks pretty good.
Yep.
Sets up a pretty moderate threat on board that we can start chipping away this armor and set up for this Alexstrasza to do some work and we'll be coming a few turns here. And
And they're using the right Holy Fire as well, that being the right one being the one they drawed and not the one they copied, so they still keep their copied card a surprise.
That's very important right here, especially with hand tracking. So right now, if you are the lineup for Epic here right now, I guess you start building some beasts again. I'm just trying to figure out if there's a Hunter's Mind in this Hunter deck. I can't remember. They cut that completely. There is one copy of Hunter's Mind we see right now, Bitter Hiver and Kraken Razor. I think Kraken Razor was the option here. They didn't get to see the third option because there was very much a snap pick. You see, Wildbird Skitter is actually very interesting because it does remove this 4/10 and will leave you with a one HP minion alive. Did they go for the Kraken Razor more? And it seems like they did do that, so this could be a very interesting one. Going for the Lynx, trying to get that adapt and just doing a little bit of good stuff here, but again, Lynx being the option. Going for that. Let's see. If he finds a poison to this one, it's going to be absolutely huge. Finds a poison on a 1/1 token as well. There's going to be a 4/10 and even a 4/5 in play here. And if you're an Epic Esports fan, you love to see that.
And I think they're forcing Oslo Lions to use the second Holy Fire right now. They can't really play the Alex. Well, they can, of course, but they immediately lose an 8/8 body as well. And that doesn't feel great because you lose all the pressure you are trying to set up. On the other hand, if you use the Holy Fire, you don't have something convenient like a Twilight Drake laying around anymore. So it doesn't feel that good either. I guess Holy Fire into Acolyte of Pain is the best you can do right now, but it's not great.
It's not fantastic, no, but it's definitely not that bad. It would be a way of you to keep on drawing resources, and I actually wouldn't even mind just seeing the Alex come down overall. Yeah, again, it does open up the life to the Rush Beast as well. That's kind of the problem. Like, we're having to find the correct spot for Alex Strass in this match. It was really hard, and it looks like they've deemed that to be now, because if they keep playing the long attrition heavy game with no Alex Strass, with no Anwin being found, they are not going to be in a good spot right now. So interesting decision here. Let's see what Alyssa. So we now know Kurabashi chicken, not the greatest option. Well, I think you should take the fun Alyssa, right? Or you could take the Kurabashi chicken too. They did go for the chicken because it's just the cheapest option. They found a bigger beast and backup, but Bluff Raptor, River Krogus, and Stone Skill and Basilisk are not exactly high pressure options here. So interesting to see what's going to happen right now. You did not get the Vicious Scale height, so that's a bummer.
The problem with the Stone Skin Basilisk here is that it can get stolen by the Cabal Shadow Priest. There's still one in the deck for Epic doesn't know this. They don't know that the priest is still in the hand or in the deck. So there they go. They have a 3/4 minion with overkill, gain 5 attack. That's never going to do anything, but that's okay.
Interesting to see what's going to happen right now, because if they do find a Hunter's Mark, which they do not, but they had to either forgo that zombies that they created a while back, or either a copy of Dire Frenzy. Choose the Dire Frenzies and stats, and see if they go for the loose specimen here, because if they stick down something on this loose specimen here, like if they stick down that Dire Frenzy, that's 20 damage coming through next turn. However, I am not assuming that the lineup of Oslo Lions will allow this minion to stick around. I could assume a shield coming down under the 7/7, just trying to see if they can find that and win, because it would be a very clean answer. But if they don't find that, they will probably just be using one of these second streams that they do have at their availability right here, right now.
Yep, and by now it is again waiting for the Anduin that is in your bottom 10 cards.
Yeah, some people would call that very unfortunate, right? Because I would say, like, even the Oslo Lions have been going for Lions, it really would force out the draw that would help them get there at the end of the day. So it's not too unlikely for them that they would have found it by now, and they could kind of be a little, if they feel a little bit chewed out by Hearthstone, I could kind of understand why. But see what the draw is here, though. That is not Cherry Island, so if they want to go for this, just snap plays that. That's just an absolutely huge draw here for the Norwegian lineup, and Norwegians have it's a Norwegian organization and not a lineup. But yeah. Rhino,
Tundra Rhino or Halatsi, both are, I think, Tundra Rhino here. Because in the end, standalone, this is better, and they're not that desperate yet. The other combination are pretty bad. I guess you get the Swamp Leech, but if
I mean, Swamp. If they chose the turnaround with Swamp Leech, that's not too bad, because right, that's 4 damage. That's 4 healing for 6 mana, which isn't too bad overall, I'd say. Because right now you're at 20, so you have a few more turns to find that very, very important combination of lifesteal and a few other things, right? But again, you're looking at the Swamp Leech, and you kind of just thinking, where did it all go wrong? And something they can do as well, right? It's like wait for the turn of Rhino, next thing they can just hold back for one turn with Rhino, and they just go right, like the swamp, like the zombies plus Diaphragms and heal for 7. And I think that's going to be the line they're going to go for here. I don't expect him to be under any threat right now. You're not going to be expecting 20 plus damage burst in one turn from this Marvelous Priest, even though it is a threatening deck at the moment. But you have seen one Holy Fire being played already, only one Marvelous in hand as well. So see this Skur Bashi chicken coming down here though. And the Flanking Strike
And
ends up a
the
lot.
flanking strike. I like that because you're not going to get any value from the flanking strike anyway. I think I'd play the Primordial Drake here.
You play Primordial Drake here right now? I feel like right now you're in a position just to close out this game, and I feel like you want to see if you can find ways to get more pings. I would like to see something like ping Acolyte, ping the face. Like you ping, play the Acolyte, ping the face again, because that does get extra 2 damage, and right now you just try, and it also will provide you with extra draw, should you need that. I wouldn't mind seeing something like a potential ping, Dustbreaker, ping face, because that also would generate a lot of damage for you. It's just right now, I feel like this Primordial Drake is just not the correct option. You're not trying to protect the board, you're not trying to protect your face, which you're at 34, and you're limiting the amount of pings that you're pushing out right now. That's just what I'm thinking here. I'm not saying that's the correct line of thinking, I'm just saying that's how I see it.
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe the Dustbreaker is better. Here we'll see. They do ping, and there we go. It's the Dustbreaker play. They clear the board and then ping the face as well. Getting
That's a ping. Just go for that club, and you just need more than 1 minute in play right here. And right now we can see this play of this Thunder Rhino plus this Diaphragm that will heal for 7, and that's a massive amount of healing coming through here for this this Epic Esports lineup. Was even just going to clear the board and not put under pressure to the face here. And you could go for something like Holy Fire Ping, but even then again, with that massive cult being found, you're not in the greatest position. Is that bad of a draw though? Like overall, it's not what you're looking for, but it is a cheap way of refreshing your. Oh, it's actually cute. It's actually really cute. Just steal this away, and you just deal some damage. And you can play the Raptor Patriarch as well alongside that. If you wanted to refresh your hero powers. It's actually it's a lot of damage coming through. You can even see the little bit of emote BM coming through right now. So let's just see what's the plan here. A little bit of an interesting positioning. Something that I want to point out right now is the positioning from us Alliance is not great here. Should a poisonous cave hydra be generated from the lineup of Epic, your entire pressure is just gone like the wind. Like just gone with the wind. Just one attack and it's just gone. But however, if they find like Wind Fury onto this could be very, very spicy. That would just be 14 healing coming at you with absolutely nothing you can do right now if you are Alliance. Let's see what's gonna happen right here. See this
and Divine Shield wouldn't be that bad either.
I mean, plus 3 is not bad either, right? It's 10 HP you heal up and you get to clear off a little bit of the board as well.
What do you clean though? Do you kill the 7-4 because it represents the most damage?
You clear the 7-4 right now. That's a 7. That's like a 20-point swing turn right there. And that's a pretty good swing, I'd say, especially with Alex Strasser gone. So, yeah, I don't know. It really depends, right? Because you've seen one Holy Fire as well, which means that you can do a little bit more agree with the way you trade, I guess. But second Mind Blast found, so that means that the lineup of Lions are more likely to get there. But right now, I wouldn't mind seeing this Primordial Drake come down. You draw a card from it, you kill off the Tensor, and you push damage and alongside that too. So I feel like right now, I would definitely prefer this Primordial Drake to the turn before we were considering it.
I also wouldn't dislike the Holy Fire. Like ping the 10 to Holy Fire the face, ping the face as well. You push 9 damage plus 7, which is 16 damage. Push your opponent at 14, and that would be lethal next turn.
I don't mind that either, but you can still just push 15 from hand next turn with 17 from hand, right? And you could still just do this and you put a 4-8 into play. So overall, it's only like I feel overall it's just a 3 damage loss or so. And this also helps you play around potential rush healing minions as well, more lightning. Also, you do get to draw an extra card, which can be huge as well. So I feel like right now you will win in the longer run as long as the second and third copy of this life-stealing turn is not found. And even so, you do have options. Timberwolf being found here is not what you're looking for, and If you
This is
are,
again bad positioning, right? If you think of the Cave Hydra Spider dude, you could have put it left of the Acolyte Bane.
you definitely could. I do agree. Stampeding Kodo, Corpse Widow, or Direwolf Alpha. No real way for you to profit off of the Alpha. Decide to go with the Kodo. From what I can tell, Swamp should get another lifesteal minion, but at this point, it's probably just going to be too late here. But 9 damage does mean 13 damage is all it needs to be from the hand of Lions, and that does mean this series will most likely tie up unless Oslo Lions misses something here. And
I
with
think
that,
this is a pretty clear lethal, and also as well, they close out the game with the double Mind Blast. I think, yep, that's the swag that we're looking for from Oslo here. And that ties up the series 1-1. Both priests are done.
both priests are in fact gone right now, but the very interesting thing for me right here is the fact that we have a specific we have mirror lineups left now. We have the potential of having 2 mirror matches back to back right now. We can see even Warlock and we can see the Hunters match up against each other. And I feel like overall in the mirrors, these hunts, like I feel like Epic just has an advantage in terms of the way they build their decks for the mirrors, right?
Yeah, I think for the Warlock, it counts more than for the Hunter. Like the Hunter is pretty even though yes, there are some small differences, like the headshot that you mentioned. But the Warlock decks are substantially different, especially with the ankle biters in the deck of Oslo. And do you think we will get a mirror? I think they will play both play Hunter here.
I feel like you want to go with the one that's right. You want to. Overall, I feel like at this situation right now, you cannot really. You cannot really like dodge a mirror. Like, there's no way for you to like not dodge a mirror. But
You have to
again,
play one mirror at least.
that's somehow. But then again, it's just. Do you even like really? I don't know if you care again.
The thing with mirror matchups is that you are always considered to be you always consider yourself the better team. So you like mirrors because you think in a mirror the better team wins. I don't think they want to dodge the mirror, and yes, it's hard to dodge a mirror as well in this setup. But I think they're both like, bring it.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what's going to be the case here. Again, a little bit of an interesting situation, I know, and it looks like we are going to go into game as my client has stopped responding. We are, in fact, going to be going into game number 3 very shortly as the players are getting ready, and we're going to be seeing the Hunter mirror like the good old days.
It's not like I call it, but I did kind of call it.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? But I just have to keep conversation flowing while we're on downtime. And right now, I guess Diamol and Companion Hunters in the hand for Oslo and Springpaw. Razormaw Diaphragm tracking for Epic right now. I feel like you want to throw away that Hunter's Mark for sure if you're Oslo right now. You want to probably throw the Diaphragms as well, the tracking, maybe potentially the tracking as well if you are Epic. So
you already have Springpaw, so would you like to play something else than Springpaw on turn 1? Probably yes, if your opponent has a Diremol. Do they know this? No, of course they don't. So I think they keep the tracking.
In this decision, I feel like they just Oslo right here was just looking for some sort of fall off of this Diamond. They even threw away the Animal Companion, was one of those stronger cards on turn 3 in this deck overall. And interesting that they just have they're probably looking for like Master's Call. They're looking for Razormaw is probably the most obvious one. We even see Springpaw Hyena here, which is actually a really strong combination. Even like turn 2 Hyena could be a thing, should they so choose to, but
turn 2 Hyena will get finished by the Springpaw though.
It definitely will. If you see your opponent keep 2 cards not playing it on turn 1, you're not going to be playing this Hyena on turn 2. I'm just saying it's definitely an option, like something they could go for, and it's Unleash the Hounds as well, which could potentially be an option later down the road. So if you are Epic right now, you could probably just go for that tracking without being punished too heavily for it, but you might want to hold off on the track until you've used Master's Call, because you just want to draw more of those cards from your deck before throwing them away for tracking. So
yeah, I don't think it's worth it to wait for it. I think this is exactly the reason that you kept it, actually. If you wanted to play Springpaw anyway, why would you keep the tracking? So I think they should use tracking. Or you do nothing. Of course, that's an option as well. Oh, there we go. It's the track.
Finds Cannon Shot, Kill Command, and Dire Frenzy. I assume we're gonna go for KC here. Like, I feel like Dire Frenzy is a bit of a skip. I don't know.
I think it's too slow to wait out for the Dire Frenzy. The first turn you want to use it on is turn 4 on the Spring Paw. But it just feels too
But
slow.
I'm-
Like on turn 4,
I don't know,
your
right?
opponent has too much
So-
war.
The line of thought, right? They have to unleash the Hounds, which any white board state in this matchup, generally speaking, will be punished by Unleash the Hounds, so they can't buy themselves the time that they need. Should Oslo be in a position where they apply enough pressure here, and as long as Oslo do not exactly have the copy of Kraken Razor Maul to bounce this Diamol, then they will be. This feels like it being a good enough spot, I say. Again, it's very hard to say because these mirrors are very much just heavily down to the wire. We see just double Spring Paw links being the play here, just hold back that Timberwolf. And what I like about this play specifically is the fact that it does set up for bigger Hyena play, which will be harder to answer should anything come down on the board here for the Epic Esports line of sight here. Line of sight? This is a completely different game. You don't have line of sight in Hearthstone. I mean, to be fair, we are expecting a Hunter mirror, so I assume there's a bit of line of sight, but I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so. Not an open map. You have to discover the map as well. I'm kind of surprised about the Spring Paw play because I would expect the Scavenging Hyena here to combine with the Spring Paw play on turn 3 or turn 4, answering the pressure that your opponent gives you. I think I personally would have gone with the Hero Power last turn, but they decided to put on the pressure even more, and now Epic has to decide what to do with this. Do they counter the pressure, which yes they do, by playing double Spring Paw into, I guess, their opponent's Spring Paw and leave it at the Dire Maul. So it worked out pretty well, I'd say, for Oslo Lions, but I'm still not sure about the line of play they chose.
I feel like, again, had they had a hand that allowed them to go a little bit late, had they already seen the Rex, had they already seen the Master's Call stuff in the hand right now, we see right now double Master's Call being in the hand for Epic, which will allow them to just be a little bit more lenient with their resources. Just think like just they have to say that they have to think less sounds really bad, and it's definitely not what I mean. But like they
What you
can
do
be,
want to say.
no, but like what I'm trying to say is the fact that they can just throw away a lot more stuff without being punished for it, in a sense. As you can see right now, this lineup play is very desperate for Lions here.
All in.
It's very much all in. It's punished by more or less every single card in the game for in
Like
the deck.
Unleash.
But, yeah, like Unleash now sounds pretty good here right now. But the thing is that this flanking strike will not be a thing either, because nothing on the board that you can really trade off. Your second Diamond draw is not great, and are we ever trading this 1-3 for a 3-3? I just think we just cannot afford to do it. But
No,
these
you don't.
draws are just not great.
I think you
for
play
Lions.
Dire Maul Hero Power and just cry in a corner.
Just
They have
cry
to
in a corner.
draw something like Master Skull, and hope that they get something like Tundra Rhino into high main. Do they even play? Yeah, they do play. They don't play a high main, I think. Wait, which one is this? Yeah, they don't play a high main, so they won't get a high main. But they do need some ramp, some stronger minions, maybe Rexar. But that's not what you're going to get from the Master Skull. Well, enough of my rambling. Let's see what Epic is going to do. They do play the Animal Companion into the Crackling Razor Maw, contesting the board that was so painstakingly created by also Lions. Windfury or Divine Shield? Which one would you choose?
I think the Divine Shield over there, the way you're now, the Winfield does not matter. I mean, like, Leak, you would rather have that on this. I mean, that Dire Frenzy drop does open up this game somehow, though, because that is a 3-6.
But the flanking strike feels so good as well.
The flanking strike feels
for 2.
great. It feels great too, but again, do you have a board next turn if you don't go for Dire Frenzy right now?
Yeah,
and Dire Frenzy 2 just does line up very nicely. You just ping off the Divine Shield, go into the 2-4, and this minion should stay alive on board, unless something like another copy of Flanking Strike or Temple or something like that will come on. That's a massive draw too, if they want to play that.
I like
here.
the counter Dire Frenzy on this Crackling Razor Maw a lot.
Counter Dire Frenzy seems a lot better, but there is a line here where you just go for Timberwolf into Scavenging Hyena. Or even you could even go, Timberwolf Hyena is a play that you could go for, but I feel like Dire Frenzy is a much better play, because especially with double Master's Call in hand, you will be drawing these massive Razor Maws every day of the week from here on out, and you just take that value trade just to realize that you don't really care. Sure, there's going to be a Flanking Strike coming down as a counter, but even then, do you really mind that if that happens? Rexay would be a great draw. No, do we hold back on the flanking though?
Yeah, I think you hold back on the hyena. I think you play flanking hero power. Go face with the dire maul. And the reason why you do that is because you push more damage face. Because else you play Scavenging or 3, it gets killed by the flanking strike. You don't know what your opponent has. Because this was obviously the best way to play the turn last turn, or very probably. And yet they do have 2 Master Skull, but that's not flanking strike, so you wouldn't get punished, but a chance of getting punished is too low here.
So I'm looking at this right now, seeing flanking. I mean, yeah, sure, flanking strike would be great in hero as well, but had both of these hand had more or less the same cards in them, this game would be a lot closer than it actually is. But double Master's Call in the hand of Epic Esports is just going to be super detrimental, I assume. I will see here. I do very much prefer going with this Scavenging Hyena because you just need something on board, and if they have Rexa, they're going to blow you out regardless. So
yeah, definitely true.
And you have a killer command, so like right now your entire goal of this game is going to be going over your opponent's face, trying to close out the game, and well, that's just how you're going to go. But like right now, this turnaround is actually pretty good, especially with the pickup of that Timberwolf that will allow you to clear up the entire board, so choose more or less the entire board, leaving the isolated free in play.
Do you want to sacrifice your Timberwolf for that though? I don't think so. I think you're happy with just trading off the Timber right now.
Yeah. Let's see what the play here will be, though. I mean, if something like a Rexa were to come flying off the top here for Oslo, this would be a very open game. But if you don't find Master's Call or Rexa this turn specifically, this game will be in a very tough spot for them. Just a singular copy of Kill Command with more or less 0 ball pressure is not going to get them anywhere. So just to see what the outcome is going to be. He's going to be going for the Timberwolf, though, it would seem, because realistically speaking, you're never going to get the value from it either way, really. No. Not sure I agree with this. Goes into the 3-2 instead of set up the trade here. And second dire phrase is being found, but this is actually a pretty solid draw overall here, so I'm not sure if you want if you want to value trade with it, or you want to make a 6-5 with it. Or you could just make 6-5 kill command, but you don't want to commit to kill
command. I like playing it on the dire maul and then trade with the dire maul, go face with the 3-2 hero power.
I like that play too. I feel like that play is a real solid one overall, but again, I'm not the one in control right now. That is definitely going to be Alex now of Oslo Lions here.
And you get punished by Deathstalker Rexar if your opponent has it, because both your minions are on 2 HP. So I guess that's something to keep in mind. If you play it on the wolf, then it doesn't get punished by Deathstalker Rexar, but you have 3 mana 7/7s are not that, or 6/6s are not very bad, I must say. Of course, a 1 mana 4/6 is better.
Yeah, it's definitely a stronger stat line overall, but when you're just drawing the 1 card a turn, it doesn't really matter what they cost, generally speaking here. But they're going to go for this play here and say, you didn't have Rexar last time we played into it heavily. Do you have it this time again? You get that hero prime there, because if both of these minions get to attack the face, this kill command becomes a very big pressure minion we see right now. This is probably going to be a Master's Call play, just trying to figure out something here, because if they do find that second copy of Springfall, this hyena will be nasty. And they find Timberwolf, and they find another Razor Maul, so no Springfall just right now, and that actually does limit the options right here. And should a second kill command come flying out the top here, that just would more or less represent lethal. So
yeah, quite a lot of things would more or less represent lethal, to be honest. Something like a Crackling Razor Maul would do a lot of damage, and maybe even Tundra Rhino would be very good. Would you go for the taunt here? If you got the option, would you go for the taunt?
You would, but you didn't get the option right now. So now it has to be a choice between Volcanic Might or Living Spores here, and I feel like you just go for the Living Spores because I think it really depends, right? Because you have a read on the counter hand being Rexar, then you want to go for the Volcanic Might because obviously that's just better. But overall, I feel like Spores will just generate you the most value. But should a Rexar be coming into the play here, then the Spores state is not along for this world regardless. This is actually a really tough turn again, because you didn't get any of the premium choices. I think speaking, like when you go for Adapt, getting the premium, if you just like get one premium choice, you always go for a premium choice, but you have to make the choice between a lot of premium choices that just a few mediocre choices can be really hard here. Flanking Strike been coming off at the top right now. Flanking Strike plus Kill Command does set up take this board apart fairly nicely and will push a lot of damage, but also will limit the amount of damage you can push yourself. But overall, I'd say this Flanking Strike is a very much welcome draw here for us Alliance.
I was about to say, wouldn't you choose the Liquid Membrane and make your dude spell immune so that it can't get killed by a second flanking strike? And then they drew the second flanking strike. So there we go. Yeah, definitely use it. I don't think you want to deal with the 6-5. It doesn't really do anything besides being a 6-5, so you can just ignore it and go face. Which is what I would like to see. Not even use the kill command this turn. Just push 9 damage into the face, kill the Scavenging Hyena with the flanking strike, create a pretty strong board. Your opponent didn't have an answer last turn, so how will they have an answer next turn?
I don't know. But again, if Rek'Sai is going to be top decking, and you are playing around a 1 in 16 draw. So I just want to maximize the damage output. This does mean the second kill command now will be providing a lot more damage should it happen. And right now, again, you're looking for something like... I mean, if you're guaranteed to find Spring Power right now. I'm very much sure of that, or am I even? Yeah, you're guaranteed to find a Spring Power now. So with Timberwolf, that's going to take apart more or less the entirety of this board right now. So you will be looking for a way to find this little bit of last bit of damage that you were looking for if you were Oslo right now. So that's not great, honestly, overall.
That's definitely not great. This is such a strong swing turn, and again, there was coming a turn that you get punished by going all in. It was coming. It just didn't get there yet, but it was coming for sure. And you could be lucky all the way to the end, finish it out with the kill command next turn, but it just wasn't in the cards.
The second kill command is being drawn here for Oslo, and now they just can have the hero power and protect and just hope that they don't die. But with double erase on one hand, that's very much unlikely that they're not dead.
Do you kill command the 7-2?
I'm wondering about this because I mean it doesn't. I mean overall, like that's still gonna be less than 7 damage removed overall, right? And if you find a cheap beast, just a single copy of kill command next turn will provide lethal given you press the hero power button. So overall, I do not really mind using one kill command defensively here. You can definitely do that, and you won't have.
The problem is that you do buff the hyena with that.
Yeah, you do buff the hyena, but it's only going to be with +2, and even with a Wind Fury, only with a Wind Fury found, that would mean that's still just going to be an average loss of 1.5 damage. So it's not that big of a deal. Killing some to it here is going to be providing more damage, generally speaking. They are going to be holding on to the kill command for the guaranteed lethal next turn here, and now it's just going to be cracking Razor or Bingo. So let's see how good they are. So
they need plus attack and Wind Fury. Like it doesn't really matter how much attack they get, I think.
Let's see.
But they need one Wind Fury.
They need one Wind Fury. They need to like they need full play and not just like 2 rows right here. So let's see, because like plus attack would just be like one or 2 rows. But if they get that, if they do get that Wind Fury, they're gonna take out the big prize, and they're probably gonna be yelling bingo. So let's see. They find plus 3 attack, which is good. That's good, obviously, but it's not the Wind Fury, and that's the first row.
With the Wind Fury, if they get Wind Fury now, it is lethal though.
I mean, they
exactly
also,
lethal.
Yeah, so let's see. They do swing first here. I assume that.
Wait, what?
Wait, what? You're still gonna go for that Wind Fury, right? Why do you not commit to second race?
Ok, that's game 3.
Okay, so the reason why they're not gonna go for that is the fact they don't want to die to Unleash as a card instead, because this Cookman has been in hand for such a long time. So that's down to hand reading, and I can understand why. I feel like I can sense too much because you don't want to take a 33% for lethal and then die to more cards than you were dying to in the first place, right?
Because, I do understand, but it just feels so bad seeing Epic lose like that. They made it like, is it Unleash or is it Kill Command? They thought it was the Unleash. It was.
It's heartbreaking, dude. It's very much heartbreaking, but had there been because again, the only card you probably would have held in hand that turn would have been Unleash the Hounds. And then some other random card that you don't want to play because you don't want to commit. and that which could be a single copy of Kill Command. But if you don't die to a single copy of Command, why would you play around the second copy? Because the likelihood are so low, and both cards being held would in fact seem like one of them being that copy of Unleash the Hound. So I can understand where Epic is coming from, and obviously with Cast Vision, I got very much excited about the potential of seeing that Winfrey come down. But that does mean now that the lineup of Oslo currently will be up 2-1 right now, and with only this very, very interesting take on Even Warlock left, I guess they'll be favored, a good spot.
I guess it's going to be tricky, but at least they got the Warlock versus a Hunter matchup, which is what they kind of tagged for with the cheeky ankle biters. So they made that matchup a bit better, which is good for them. And I hope it works out for them, I guess. But coming back to the hand reading part, I do feel like if there was Unleash in the hand, wouldn't they have used it last turn? So you're thinking of a top deck Unleash that you're going to play around.
No, because you only have 3 minions in play. You're not going to use that for 3 minions.
Why not? Okay, so you assume at least one of them is Kill Command, and if you assume the other is Unleash, then it would have already been lethal or very close to it.
That is true. But also could just have been it could also just have been a very small minion that you would have needed to activate something that you didn't want to die on board, have die on board very easily, because obviously you could just trade. So what could have happened is, like, with the Timberwolf being in play, it changes the scope a little bit, because any singular small minion, this Timberwolf you could just like go face with all of the other minions and then gain more damage by trading off the Timberwolf and the Hyena and stuff like that. And there are some situations that could be very important, I guess. I'm not saying it's completely wrong what they did. I'm not saying it's completely right. I'm just saying that there are definitely considerations to why they did that. And I can see you have the counter option of saying that, like, just overall it's just incorrect play, but I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised to see an even luck mirror this game, this next game, because Epic, it's open decklist format, and Epic knows that their Warlock should win or should be slightly favored against the Warlock of Oslo. Of course, slightly favored doesn't mean you win 100%, but it might mean you win 53% instead of 50. And that would be enough to just play it here and keep the Hunter for later on. That's what my guess is going to be. What do you think, Vita? Do we see the Hunter or the Warlock?
I think that if you are Epic, you definitely want to go Warlock versus Warlock, and now you have to guarantee to do that. I definitely agree that that's what you're going to do, because you don't want to commit into an even Warlock that has been tagged a little bit more for these early game matchups with those cheeky angle biters, double Doomsayers and stuff like that, just to take the board and set up for the longer games. But I know it seems like we are going into the game, and I'm expecting this to be a Warlock versus Warlock, because you just want to get that 2-2. And it's going to be Warlock versus Hunter, actually. So it looks like Epic are fancying the chances right here. So interesting mulligans for both sides as well. Defile, Blood Wrinkle Dan, Hook Reaver, and Hellfire being the handful of right
looks
here.
actually pretty good for the Warlock here. The Defel, you're very happy about that. Hellfire, pretty good as well. Hooked Reaver, not that bad. I think you keep it. You throw the Blood Reaver Dan, though. And on the other side, we have the Hunter with the Springpaw, the Hyena, and the Flanking Strike. Flanking Strike not very useful against a Warlock, because the Warlock usually opens with something like a Mountain Giant or a Twilight Drake, which means that the Flanking Strike is not going to do much. You're actually looking for the Hunter's Mark that you do have in your deck. Actually, only one for Epic, while the Oslo lineup runs 2 Hunter's Marks in their deck. But that deck already won. And we didn't even see a Hunter's Mark, I believe. There we go. They threw away the Flanking Strike and got the Dire Frenzy. Actually pretty good, putting on pressure on turn 3. And a full mulligan for the Warlock.
I can actually get behind that. The Hellfire, generally speaking, will not be that massively impactful in the earlier stages of the game, because the board states aren't that wide. And you're looking for something like Spellbreaker to answer those hyenas as well. As like the file can be a counteractive tool as well as a proactive tool, right? Because obviously, if let's say the double spring pass in play, the file will just buff it up. You see right here, the file doesn't answer this board state, right? Because it just doesn't, and that's just.
I am not entirely sure how the defel works here.
Nope, it doesn't answer this because it's very simple, right? Because you go for the 1. And then, yeah, sure, the Hyena is technically a 1, but the effect triggers, so it's a 2, so it would be a 4-1 after this turn, and that's not what you want to see here. And this actually does put some second thought into the minds of Oslo whether or not to go for this turn 3 giant, because you could potentially go for something like Sunfear instead, just, have something on board that could contest this hyena, set up the defile more clean that way around. Not completely sure though.
And we already see one of the other key cards for the hunter in their hand as well. The kill commands are actually really important in this matchup to get through that wall of taunts that you will see in the end. And we don't go for the Sun Fury, we do go for that tap. And we, being Oslo Lions, cheaty ankle biter being found, not that bad, not that good right now.
This is actually really cute right here. This is actually incredibly cute right here. Because let's say that nothing happens outside of the cheaty angle biter next. Like, if this is just status quo next turn on the board, you just cheaty angle biter at the hyena, you just like go current defile, you clear the board, and if there's no fodder up minions play, the dire frenzy can come down, Dangling Strike can come down, you just block out like all turn 4. I wouldn't. This play obviously is very different in terms of like what's in the hand, because you like to use the cheaty angle biter to buff your spellstone, stuff like that, and you just play down this bounce giant. It also looks pretty clean right now. But if you want to play around Flanking Strike, you want to play around Dire Frenzy's cards like that, then this play it's very cute, and it's probably not the best play in the world, but overall in this context right here, right now, that it's actually a really good play. And you don't have an answer for this hyena outside the Spellbreaker regardless. So I actually wouldn't mind to see this play, and it looks like they actually are going to go for this. And this cheeky angle by item just showing up to dance right here, and I mean, to be fair, like the hyena is the one like angle biting on this picture, but the angle bite is just getting that hyena out of the way here. And as I was talking about,
the anti-aggro attack, right?
Very, very, very low tempo turn right now coming through, unless they find an animal companion here, which they do not, and have to forgo either their one copy of Hunter's Mark or the second hyena for this. This is a very, very, very unfortunate tracking here for the Epic Esports lineup. They did not want to see this, to be completely honest.
On the other hand, there's not a really great turn for the Warlock next turn either, but as long as you have tempo, you're pretty happy. Do you want to forgo the one Hunter's Mark though? I don't think so.
Again, it's really hard to say, right?
To win, though? Like, what is the way from here that you're going to win? I think Scavenging Hyena is a better way to win than the Hunter's Mark. Hunter's Mark is play to not lose.
Yeah, let's see if they're just going to go for it here. And this actually does give over a fairly okay turn here for us Alliance, because they can just go for the Spellbreaker should they want to, but Doomsayer found that. That could also be a very interesting option. However, if there's the Dire Frenzy, is just going to be a very interesting card in this entire shebang right now.
I wouldn't dislike Flanking Strike either next turn if we do see the Doomsayer. But I wouldn't dislike the. I really like the Spellbreaker actually here.
Yeah, you have to spell. I mean, you just have to Spellbreaker this, right? I mean, yeah, you did play around the fact that there might have been a Dire Frenzy like that in the hand, but it's just overall you just have to do something here, and this also allows the file to clear off this hyena should they so choose to. I am double companion Rhino, and I'm pretty sure.
Another lucky tracking, I must say, because those animal companions could both be Huffer. The Tundra Rhino is something you want as well, but I think you go for the Tundra Rhino because it's a beefy minion and it's kind of hard to clear for your Warlock opponent unless you have a Spellstone that's activated. But there is no, there has been no activation yet. We've already seen one cheaty ankle biter, so I guess the Rhino is the call here.
Definitely think so too. And now it's a choice about, because if you really want to land this Dire Frenzy into this hyena, for example, you really you might be a little bit hesitant to go for the Flanking Strike right now, because if a Hellfire is found, then this board state itself just doesn't really treat itself very nicely. As I say, that Hellfire found from top of the deck here for Oslo, and that's a very lovely draw if you are the Lions. However, you do put yourself into a very low life total, and you have not seen a lot of life gain from your deck at the moment. And with the Hellfire used, if in case it comes down right in this turn, it's actually one more way for you to buff up your spellstone just gone, just like the first one. We see you go for the tap here, find the Rivalries, which is a very okay card to play in the next turn. It's a pretty decent 6-drop. I guess I'm just going to go for this Hellfire, just try to set up a somewhat safe board situation from Rivalries Unravel. Should a Highmane be found here? Or Deathstalker or Rexar? This is actually an interesting decision.
But you play the Rhino, I think. I think you're going in for the kill now. And if it doesn't work out, you can always play the Rexar, but I don't dislike the Rhino here.
No, I don't like
This is
Rhino.
the best board you're going to get,
Yeah.
I think, to play it.
I don't dislike Rhino either. And even if a Ruben or a Graveler was to come down, you can still play Diaphragms at the follow-up.
And that's a great draw if you had a Spellstone in your hand, but unfortunately, Oslo Lions doesn't. I do think we see the Mountain Giant into the Sun Fury here, and yes, it would get punished by the 1 Hunter's Mark, but we know that it isn't there anymore. And for Oslo, it's just there's still 50 cards left. What's the chance of them already getting their Hunter's Mark? They've also played both cards from tracking already, so they know it wasn't in the cards they picked from there.
Yeah, again, it's very hard to say what the actual line of thought will be here. Again,
To play
Hook Reaver's
Hook
fine. Hook Reaver Homunculus could be a thing, right? And then again, you put yourself into more or less kill command range, and with no healing found right now, it's very hard for you to actually do anything. And if a high main is found, I can't remember. They do run high main, right? I'm not completely talking out of my head. They do run double high main here, so that's also a very, very scary card because that would just allow you to get push for this giant just naturally with nothing. But right here, right now, this high main itself is actually this high main. What I'm talking about, this mountain giant is looking very much very, very much secure right now. Obviously, we do know that the Hunter's Mark is gone, so you could go for something like Dire Frenzy Kill Command, but that's a lot of kill pressure gone, and that's in that 1 split second as well, right? And that's not looking too good for you. I mean, you could go for Unleash the Hound Kill Command, they get again a lot of kill pressure gone, and you were trying to set up this Dire Frenzy last turn, so you just had to commit to it. I feel like overall, I mean, getting rid of an 8/8 is never a bad thing either. It's just how it is at times. It just doesn't feel great right now if you're Epic Esports right now.
Everything feels bad right now, so maybe the right play is to go for the face and just kill command hero power. Hope they don't have healing. Hope they don't have healing the turn after, even though the chance is really small. So I guess this gives you kind of a better out. But now you're playing for the longer game. You're going to expect your opponent to have. Are you going to get back on this board being the hunter? I sincerely doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually an interesting thing right now, because if you don't do it... Okay, that's a Spellstone. That's a pretty good draw overall, I'd say. But if they do damage to themselves without healing... No, I wouldn't mind seeing the Ruby Unraveler and then trading into the Thunder Rhino. And then just going face. But the problem with that is the fact that the opponent's never going to kill off the Ruben Rattler, which means that your Spellstone now costs 6. So just like 1 more pressure. Hook Reaver plus Sunfire Protector itself are in bad place here either. I feel like I want to see a trade-off of the Rhino just because it represents too much damage theoretically, and you just still pushing the 2. You're never going to win in the long. You don't play for the shorter term, you play for the long term. That's a massive draw by the second turnaround, but obviously second turnaround would be much better in this situation because it would just be guaranteed lethal there.
So would you play the Rhino into Unleash here?
I feel like that's just giving up too many of your beasts. It's giving up too many of your beasts.
Unleash is fine.
You really want to commit your hero power here. You're not going to die next turn most of the time, and you force your opinion if they have the Spellstone in hand. So Spellstone one of their own minions, right, as well. So I don't think that it's necessarily bad or good. I'm very indifferent to like how you're going to space out this hand. I feel like just the Alpha Omega thing you want to do right now is just hit that hero power button. You just want to put
whatever you're
down
going
to
to do, play the hero power.
So if that includes just playing that Thunder Rhino, taking a Liar trade, that's fine. I don't mind. You just have to press the hero power button. You just have to get there at the end of the day. Overall, just all the time you just want to get there. So
do you trade it then to the giant then?
No, I like the 2-3 trade here because it forces your opponent to deal with this, because it means that they can't play around a singular copy of Kill Command like ever on this type of trade. But you might just want to protect your own face that much that you feel like this is the play. We see here just nothing else coming down here, and I'm assuming it's going to be Volcumongulus, less of Spellstone playing around that Beast plus Kill Command line of play here. And again, it's not great, but it doesn't put on a lot of pressure, and you're going to be in the same conundrum the 2 turns from now as well. It's never going to be great for you, but it might get you that important amount of time you need to find something like Blood River Gul'dan. It is in the bottom half of your deck. Yet again, your Death Knight will be found in the bottom half of your deck. So right now, no matter what you do right here, you're just going to go face to start off with. I feel like you're going to go Spellstone onto one of these 2/3s when we come to that. Just heal for the 5, go back towards the 9 HP point, which gives you 1 extra turn to play around, kill a command, and hopefully just get there if you are the Alliance lineup. Cracking away some more does
if
not
that's
do a whole
poison,
lot.
it's actually. I think it does actually, because it buys you another turn.
It will buy you another turn should it find a poisonous or even plus for attack, which will just limit the damage output, and you always see 1 health fire. So the direct damage is very much limited. And again, no bone marrow and anything of that nature in the deck for Lions either, so they're not going to be that afraid of that and like that pressure itself.
And once again, you always press that hero power, right?
Yeah, at this point right now, you're just going to press the hero button, because if you ever force to play this Rexar, you just lost the game on the spot, right? It's just a last resort play, and even then, I feel like it's just fine. You're sure you're gonna be. I mean, you're dead to second. You're not even dead to second hellfire. You're dead to nothing, and actually, you're dead exactly dead to second hellfire. But if you put your opponent down low enough, so if you go unleash the Hound's Kill Command right here to play around the hellfire draw, I actually wouldn't mind it too much, because that's the only way you lose this game, more or less, unless second Spellstone comes flying up the top as well. I mean, second Spellstone as well as second Cheeky Ankle Biter will do it for you. Will do it for your opponent in terms of just getting themselves that extra turn we've been talking about so much here, but those are very limited draws, and Twidrake is not it. And with that does mean that Denim Blue and Epic Esports will just tie up the series to the tune we'll be going into Game 5, which will be in fact be this famed even Warlock mirror match.
And that's unlucky for Oslo, because
you hate that.
Yeah, that's why you shouldn't tap. You should just concede. But this is what Oslo tagged for, to play against that aggressive deck of the Hunter specifically, I guess. And so this is where they wanted to win with their Warlock, which is kind of weird maybe. But now they have to win the mirror against a deck that is tagged for the mirror better than your deck is. At least they pick really quickly, because it is 2 against 2. Winner plays Intrepid Fox, I think. Losers out. Let's go back to the game. What are the win conditions here? What are you looking for?
You're looking for Triadrax, you're looking for Mountain Giant, you're just hoping that they get there at the end of the day. That is it, put very lightly. This match, speaking, it's been so long since I've seen a deck that doesn't have has as little top end as the deck from us Alliance has, in terms of like being even Warlock deck. And with no bone marrows to play around, that means that Epic Esports can take themselves quite a few liberties. Yeah, freedom. Like they can be a little bit liberal with the way that they choose to take to do the lines.
That's right now, Mountain Giant, and that's no Mountain Giant.
But something that right now is the fact that they in this situation being us Lions will be very much conscious about that. They have the Doomsayer, like they're running double Doomsayer, and Doomsayer is actually a very interesting card in this matchup, because what it allows you to do if you are going first, in fact, so you can block out that Doom. You can play Doomsayer on turn 3, go tap Doomsayer, you tap turn 2 as well, tap on your turn 3, Doomsayer, block out their Giant, and you get first Giant. And I'm still yet to figure out how good first Giant actually is. Because it gets
answered by second Giant immediately, and then you have to trade.
It's very weird, because like, do you trade? Like, how much do you have to respect this? And it gets almost always there in this matchup. It's very hard to really navigate for myself. Obviously, these players that have been playing this matchup, they probably know it in their sleep, right? They've been testing it so much. We see right now this Doomsayer coming down, as I was talking about, on turn 3, taking out for that Giant next turn. And right now, with the nature of the hand here for Epic, it means that they have to throw away either a coin or another card that they feel like have less value. And that's just what you do when you have this double Doomsayer, because you're going to be coin Spellbreaker here.
I like it a lot, because you still get pressure on the board while not having. Yeah, you don't have to waste your turn. You don't have to throw anything away, and next turn you can still tap and play your Giant if you want to.
Yeah, and I feel like even if you are Lions, you don't mind this too much. If you would have liked that to not be a Spellbreaker, but this opens up. There's only the one copy of a Spellbreaker in the deck for Epic, so this also allows your Twidrake to have a much higher impact in this game now. And okay, this is actually a very interesting swing right here. I'm not sure I agree with this wholeheartedly, because you're very much in this matchup. You are very, very careful about how you hit face, because Hooked Reaver is a card you have to play around, and it goes live much sooner than, like, let's say old school Molten Giants did. Right in the Handlock mirror, you're like more or less never hitting face, unless you had like double giant in play. And this is more or less the same kind of thing, at least I feel like it. If you don't have like massive board pressure, you're never gonna like start to hit face because you don't want to help your opponent get down to that life total where they can activate their hood reavers and such.
It feels like you're wanting to trade into the Spellbreaker and pass, or well, maybe play a. How large is your Twilight Drake? It's large enough. You could play a Twilight Drake if you want to. It won't die to the Mountain Giant on the other side. That seems okay. You could also, of course, play the Vulgar Homunculus. Not that bad either. You get you actually can take a hit from the Mountain Giant for you. But both are pretty good options as long as you trade into the Spellbreaker. So now this is a very weird position for Epic. What should they do here? They have to deal with the Mountain Giant because this board represents too much damage. I guess you have to trade, but you really don't want to trade because it's so awkward. But you can't really set up a cheap taunt either because it will just get cleared by that Twilight Drake, and then the Mountain Giant still goes to your face. So this is kind of weird. You don't have any fancy defel plays either, of course, because the minions are just too high HP for now. You could play your own Twilight Drake. I think that's fine. Playing your own Twilight Drake here, yeah, seems good.
Yeah, being on opposite as I was talking about before, you know that there are double coverage Spellbreaker in the Oslo Alliance decks. If in case you ever weren't aware, this is open deck list best out of 5 conquests. If you're just tuning in right now, trying to catch this game number 5 of this very, 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 very long series right now, it's been pushing towards the 2-hour market by this now. And in case you want to like figure out how this entire season has gone of House Rivalries EU division, you should very much go ! bracket in chat and you'll see that for yourself. Right? See, this is an interesting play right now. We're double toned up and just going face here. I love this too, but what this actually means is the fact that this Hook Reaver now will completely block out this play more or less though, right? And you have the Hellfire, you have the lethal set up, you have what you need to close out the. Again, it's always a risk. It's always just a risk, right?
Do you want to clear the board here above all? Like you could Hellfire and Defel and then trade your Twilight Drake into the Mountain Giant.
It seems very slow. It seems like you would hand over a necessary amount of pressure, right? But you do buff your Spellstone in that process as well, which would be very nice for you, right? Because you would be able to
better play would be Homunculus Spellstone on the 2/4. Trade your Twilight Drake, trade your Mountain Giant into the opponent's Mountain Giant.
Yeah, that seems like a very much cleaner play. Leave yourself with a much better bot situation. You could even just Homunculus, Spellstone, go face for 8, set up your own counter lethal. But if you don't, because what like the main difference for Lions instead of the for Epic would be they have an answer for Hook Reaver, but they're just not gonna risk it. Just gonna say, okay, we have the board control and we'll win throughout in the long run here. We see this Spellbreaker right now would be a very much welcome sight for this Twilight would be a welcome sight for Lions because they would just be able to Spellbreaker it off and even give something like GG ankle bites. I should this I choose, but I had to see. Let's see what's going to happen because they would be looking at something like probably either Beetle or like Sunfury alongside it. But even then, if you go for the Sunfury, you're just super weak to Spellbreaker, right?
Yup, definitely. I think Twilight Drake, Twilight Drake Sunfury feels correct, but it doesn't feel like something you want to play. You could also play the Plated Beetle, but I guess Plated Beetle is fine as well. You're not really going to do anything else with it. It's not very important in this matchup, and it makes the silence kind of less painful because you still have your Sunfury effect. But silence on a Twilight Drake is always painful.
Alright. Just an ooze alongside this is fine, but I feel like right here the Lion lineup would really love to be at 8 mana, being able to push the Hood Reaver down alongside this. So Michael's actually a fairly decent draw because they're just another minion to play onto the board, but Spellbreaker here. The problem is now that you will be not overextending, but you will be extending very widely into very widely into any combination of AoE clears from your opponent should go this route. So the fuse is
Do
just
you
a
like
go for me.
Spellbreaker Ankle Biter?
I like that. I actually do really. That was one of the first plays I was looking at, really. And I think it was actually a really cute play that allows you to push heavily. The problem with this now is that let's just see if they go face before or not. Because if they feel like they have enough pressure, they probably will go for the face. And I actually do kind of like them going for the face. And why I like this is the fact that then your opponent has to choose between pushing out a Hood Reaver or pushing a bot clear. Because sure, you could go for something like Defile, but that doesn't clear the entire bot. The only bot would be Hellfire, so I'd like them to swing face. But see right here, they're just going to be respecting the Hood Reaver and saying that we don't have a clean answer to this, guys. We have to wait a few more turns so we can set up a bot or state of our own that does answer it. So I can definitely respect that. That's something that I feel like it's a tough one to juggle which one is the correct one here because it's just really hard.
And then we go Hellfire being played, deals with this board the best. Spellstone also picked up, so that's nice. They can play that next turn to deal with the Twilight Drake, I think, on 7 mana though, so the Hooked Reaver couldn't come out this turn. And now the initiative still lies with Oslo Lions. They could play their second Hooked Reaver, which actually seems really good, to be honest. There's also no way to upgrade the Spellstone even more for Epic Games. So I would really like to see the Hooked Reaver.
By the way,
Epic
it's Epic Esports. Epic Games is a completely
Epic Games
different
is a company, right? I heard of
They
that.
they made this kind of small game that just announced
Yeah.
a massive $13 million prize pool or something. But no, it doesn't matter. This is a completely irrelevant company right now. What matters is Epic Esports right now against Oslo Lions. That's why you're here right now. Watching this, you can see right now. You can see Oslo Lions right now because you have a few different plays, right? Because this Hooked Reaver is going to come down more or less regardless, right? So you could go Shroomper onto your Twilight Drake, you go to your face. It really depends like how scared you are. You can go something like double Shroomper, just have something pretty mediocre pressure. I wouldn't even mind seeing a trade from the Twilight Drake onto this Beetle just to play around the level 2 Spellstone, but they're just going to say, nope, we're not going to play around that. We're just going to go face, set up our lethal. We have Hellfire, we have Dread Inferno, we have this little bit of extra damage we can push through throughout the rest of the game. And that's just going to be enough for them, hopefully, if you are an Oslo Lions fan. But the Spellstone plus the healing from the play the Beetle will just be a little bit of a spanner here. So
that's the fun part about this matchup, right? Just being able to go this low on 9 HP and still not being afraid of dying, just because you know that your opponent Warlock doesn't really have any direct damage left. There's only one Hellfire, that's 3 damage, that's not 9.
I feel like throughout this game, Lions have had plays where I feel like if they just had one more mana, this turn would be absolutely insane. Something like Hellfire and Rebel here would have been absolutely nuts. Just push through, push the damage, just keep on applying the pressure you need to win this game out, but that's not going to be the case here. So I'm trying to see how exactly they are going to tear this bot apart because they don't really want to go something like Dread Inferno, I assume.
I think you definitely play the Hellfire here. Probably Shroomber as follow-up. Heal your face this time.
Do you heal your face this time? No, you've seen one Hellfire already, so you're not afraid of dying. You would be dying to something like Hellfire plus Dread Inferno, right?
Yeah, but that's only 9 mana next turn, so... It would be literally impossible to die next turn. Here we go, Hellfire being played, Shroomblur also being played on the face. They are kinda afraid of dying, or they don't value the HP of the Twilight Drake very highly, which I can also understand. And now it's maybe it's finally time for the Lich King to come out. It's an 8/8 minion with taunt. Seems pretty decent.
Yeah, Lich King is just being pretty good right now, but again, yes, if the second Spellbreaker happens, you are going very low on life, right? But then again, you're not dying because you've seen double Hellfire by now, if I've been tracking correctly, so you're not afraid of dying either, but again, even something like Sihi's Sunfree Protector is still just pretty much as good right here. Just it requires the same amount of trades to still get rid of the board, and it also it will not be as weak as something like a Spellbreaker. And the only counterpart about this is the fact that the Sea doesn't really apply counter lethal. I mean, it technically does if you play alongside a Sunframe Protector, because then you would have the 8 damage thing to press the counter lethal. But again, it's just so many decisions to make, right? And it's very much this is a very important game. This is your tournament life on the line for both teams. They have to figure out what the highest win percentages play every time right now, and it's very, very important. It's 2-2, right? It's game 5, and they're going to be going for the Lich King right here, right now.
If you start healing, do you start winning? I don't think so, and that's exactly what Epic Esports thinks. Oh,
right?
Gul'dan is pretty good here.
It brings back double 4/4 right into 4, which is a pretty respectable board.
And not only that, you get the hero power, and the hero power is actually really good in this situation because then you finally get direct damage. Yeah, I think so.
Seeing Dread flips like something like double trade, Dread Infernal, Vulgar Homunculus, Sunframe Protector. Just see if you can have a board going into the turn where you play the Blood River Gul'dan as well as the one you just created. I feel like this wouldn't be too bad right now. You need to get rid of the Lich King as well, which you would do if you play Gul'dan. I'm just thinking that maybe you just want to see if you can get the biggest respawn possible from it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you do play the Dread Infernal and the Sun Fury. I'm not sure. Would you also play the Vulgar Homunculus? Are you that not afraid of dying? I think you're afraid of dying now because it might be Immortal Coil. That the Lich King just gave, and of course, or the weapon, but of course it wasn't. Let's see. I think I'd go for the Gul'dan here. Don't be greedy. 2 4/4s and the new hero power seems pretty good. Nope, greedy
I like
it
this.
is.
I like this. And going with the Doomsayer as well. This is actually cute. I like this too. And going with the Sunfury as well. I actually really like this play. I mean, the Sunfury is pretty much unnecessary and just like an overkill situation right now. Because you know there's more or less realistically no way this Doomsayer is ever dying here, but you want to get that 6/6 into the pool, and should this Doomsayer go off, which we can see like by all means it very much should, it's not like this. It doesn't matter.
Mojo Master Zihi.
Oh, that's actually
so good
no
right
Master is the nuts right here as well. It just blocks out the Blood Reaver, and that's probably one of the reasons why it could have gone to Gul'dan on the previous turn. And also, Lions will probably be said like, if the Mojo Master comes down, like, why did we not just play Gul'dan? I guess. I mean, I can see your point as well, right? Because like, if you make a play like this, what is your play ever going to be outside of Blood River Gul'dan, right? Your play is always going to go Gul'dan. They're just like 5 turns away. You do not have the necessary defensive tools in hand, realistically speaking. But again, you are giving up that 6/6 or 5/5 body from the Seahy, right? You're giving up the 5/5 body, and that does allow your opponent to play down the River and Reveler and whatever minion they have in hand. They might not have, like if they have